You're watching the SEC on ABC, presented by Burger King. Today at Kroger Field in Lexington, Kentucky, it's the first conference game of this SEC season. The 20th ranked Ole Miss Rebels taking on the Kentucky Wildcats, who are trying to end a 7-game home field conference losing streak. Lane Kiffin and the Rebels arrive as a considerable favorite. But that was the case last year when these two teams got together in Oxford and the Cats pulled off a stunning upset. They were down by 4, under 4 minutes to go. Went for it on 4th and 7 from their own 20. A 63-yard bomb got them to the goal line. They had good fortune there. Josh Caddis recovers the fumble in the end zone for the go-ahead score for Kentucky. Last chance for Jackson Dart. He took a sack. They had to try a 48-yard field goal from Caden Davis. It was no good. And Mark Stoops with the big win. It turned out to be Kentucky's only conference victory of the year 1 year ago. Sean McDonough along with Greg McElroy, joined in a moment by Molly McGrath. Delighted to have you with us, Greg. Obviously, that was a very costly loss for Ole Miss. They finished the regular season 9-3 and just missed the college football playoff. Mark Stoops thinks the Rebels will be a playoff team this year, despite the fact that they bring back only 4 starters. They lost Jackson Dart, among many others, but Jackson Dart's replacement is pretty talented.
Austin Simmons is special. I mean, you ask coaches, players, anyone that's watched him, he's remarkable. Has a really quick release and is pinpoint accurate. Also has a unique ability of understanding where defenders are and throwing around those defenders, like layering it up and over the top of this defender underneath the safety for a nice throw. Another guy that did that a lot, Tua Tagovailoa. Reminds me so much of Tua Tagovailoa. Also reminds Lane Kiffin, who recruited and coached Tua. Same type of throw, up and over, accurate in stride for plenty of yards after catch. The staff for Ole Miss believes this can become an elite passing attack because of Austin Simmons' potential.
Meanwhile, Kentucky off a 4-8 season a year ago. They brought in 55 new players. That seems like a lot, but in the transfer portal day and age, it's really not. But Mark Stoops thinks they'll be better. It's going to be the same formula, play great defense and try to run the ball, and they have 2 new running backs who are going to try to help them do that.
Just try to reestablish that physical identity that Mark Stoops and Kentucky have long been known for. And the 2 guys that will help them do that today are their 2 running backs, Dante Dowdell, who's outstanding, and Seth McGowan. Both guys run extremely hard and present a level of explosiveness at the running back spot that this Kentucky team sorely lacked a year ago.
This is the 4th meeting between these 2 schools in the Lane Kiffin era. The previous 3 all decided by 3 points or less. Opening kickoff in a moment. This has been the All-State Kickoff. And we welcome you back to the All-State Kickoff. Moments away from the start of this conference season. These will be the first 2 teams to play an SEC game in 2025. The rest of the conference will get started next week. Well, we mentioned the recent history. The last 3 meetings all decided by 3 points or less. Last time Ole Miss was here, it was an overtime win for Lane Kiffin. Last year, the shocking 3-point loss is a 15.5-point favorite. The All-State Kickoff spotlight. Skies brightening. It was a rainy morning, and the temperature is cool for this time of the year on the Kentucky Bluegrass, with the temperature in the low 60s. Austin Simmons getting ready for his first road start. With more on that, here's Molly McGrath.
Well, Sean, Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin called Austin Simmons a child prodigy, both as a student and a quarterback. Simmons was reclassified in high school to graduate 2 years early, and then he graduated from Ole Miss back in May, and now at just 19 years old, he's pursuing his master's in sports management. And wide receiver Trey Wallace told us Simmons is wise beyond his years, has the maturity, football IQ, and poise of a seasoned veteran, and we saw that in pregame warmups. He was meticulous and locked in to his routine, and we'll see how he does here in his first SEC road start, Sean.
And he will be on the field to start the game, as Kentucky won the toss and deferred, so Lane Kiffin elected to receive the opening kickoff. Since 2020, up and down the field they have gone, but as you saw, those low-scoring games in the last 3 against the Wildcats. It hasn't been the case when he plays his good buddy Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops is on a text chain with Lane and some other SEC coaches, and they've had a running dialogue about last year's game. And Mark Stoops said to us yesterday, I hope Lane's giving me a hard time about another Wildcat victory over Ole Miss for another year. Lane said Stoops never goes for that 4th and 7 from his own 19, but he did it. It paid off. Vandegrift to bury on Brown for 63 yards, and they went on to pull off the huge win.
I'll even give Mark Stoops a little credit on the Lane Kiffin impression. He sounded like Lane when Lane told us the exact same thing when we met with him earlier in the week. So a little revenge on the mind of Ole Miss, I would imagine, but Kentucky trying to prove last year's game, no fluke. I think they're a different team this year.
Simmons ready to go with a new cast around him, a new running back, new wide receivers. They hope an improved offensive line. That was not a strength of the Ole Miss offense a year ago. Good atmosphere here. There's a fan base that's getting a little restless after the 4-8 season of a year ago that ended an 8-season bowl streak. Jacob Coway, strong-legged kicker, will kick off. Isaiah Hartrip is deepest for Ole Miss. Kentucky opened here a week ago with a win over Toledo. Was uninspiring against the MAC preseason favorites. They won 24-16. Ole Miss pulled away from Georgia State at home 63-7 last weekend, and it'll be a touchback. And here comes Simmons. We had a bit of a shaky start against Georgia State, a couple of early interceptions, perhaps a little bit too confident in that great arm and decision making that you talked about. But he settled in and had a big day, 341 and 3 touchdowns.
Lane Kiffin said that tricky start actually was good for his team in general. Showed them that unlike last year in the first few games, they can battle back from adversity and put forth a tremendous performance down the stretch.
He opens with Kewan Lacey, the running back. They think they'll be improved at that position with his talents. A transfer from Missouri. And they give it to him to start, and he's ahead for just a couple. Davron Rayner leading the defensive surge for Kentucky, and Ole Miss, as usual, will go quickly. The fake to Lacey, the quick throw out wide, caught by Harrison Wallace, the third. Transfer from Penn State, and he has a first down out of bounds at the 39 with a 12-yard pickup.
And the tempo for Ole Miss, so difficult to adjust to. A lot of new faces on this Kentucky defense. Only Alex Safari, the linebackers, really seeing them regularly. You got to get your cleats in the turf.
The fake to Lacey, and the throw too far out in front of Trey Wallace. They lost the headliners of their receiving group from a year ago. Trey Harris, 2nd round pick to the Chargers. Jordan Watkins, 4th round to San Francisco, but Dejon Stribling, Deuce Alexander, Harrison Wallace the third among the transfers. They think they'll be deeper at that position this year, maybe not quite as talented at the top end. Lacey to the 43, chopped down after a 4-yard pickup. Here comes 3rd down and 6.
By far the most important down of the game for both Ole Miss's offense and Kentucky's defense. Ole Miss just 1 of 10 last year against Kentucky on the money down.
That was a huge problem. As a result, Kentucky held the ball for more than 39 minutes in Oxford. Austin Simmons given plenty of time, running out of time, and down he goes near the line of scrimmage. By Case Humphrey Grace.
On the play for the Wildcats, by Case Humphrey Grace.
And just a 3-man rush. So that pocket really should be pretty good. The offensive line struggling last week just a bit in their protection. They're able to loop it around, and there really should be no reason why pressure gets home. There were some guys open over the middle as well that Simmons missed.
Officially gain of 1, so no sack. Oscar Bird is the punter. It's short, and contact made with Ty Bryant. who is back deep for it, and a flag is thrown. Well, not the start Lane Kiffin had in mind. 1 first down and a punt. Now a penalty on that punt.
Kick catching interference, number 13 on the kicking team. 15 yards from the spot of the foul. First down, Kentucky.
Cedric Beavers called for the penalty. So good field position to start for Zach Calzada.
And there was no signal in the back by Bryant, but Beavers has to be more aware. One of the fastest players on the team just completely losing track of it and making a big costly error.
So Kentucky will begin from its 35-yard line, led by Zach Calzada. First year at Kentucky, 7th year in college football. And Dante Dowdell lines up behind him in the pistol. One of those 2 new running backs. He gets nothing. In fact, a loss of a yard against this remade Ole Miss defense. Will Eccles leading the way for Ole Miss.
Calzada is a young man with a very strong arm. Career win-loss record, a little better than you might realize. It's the completion percentage. Talking to him, he wants to play clean football, make good decisions. Turnovers have been a problem for him in the past.
1 year as a starter at Texas A&M. He was there for 3. Transferred to Auburn, but never played there. The last 2 at Incarnate Word in FCS, where he put up big numbers. Swing pass to Dowdell. Transfer from Nebraska, where he was the leading rusher for the Huskers last year. That's a 2-yard gain. Prince Will Uman Mielen in on the tackle.
These are down and distances that Kentucky has to avoid. 2 new tackles coming up from the G5 level. Their first experience now tasting speed from an SEC pass rush. So obvious passing situations must be avoided for the Wildcats, who lack a true #1 wide receiver.
Calzada threw for just 85 yards in that opening win here against Toledo last weekend. 3-man rush. They do block it. He has some running room. He throws a back shoulder, broken up, a flag down. Broken up by Wydett Williams Jr. It was intended for Willie Rodriguez. Let's see which way this is going.
That left hand.
Pass interference on the offense, number 81. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Lane Kiffin has to love it. There was a lot of pushing and shoving, and I think that last-minute push by Rodriguez to create just a little separation is what resulted in the flag. And Mark Stoops not happy with it. Looked like that left arm was in there just a little bit, so I think it could have gone either way.
So they decline the penalty, and on 4th down and 9, Aiden LaRosse, the returning punter, is on. Mark Stoops thinks he's one of the top 5 punters in the country. Averaged more than 45 per punt last year. From Cape Town, South Africa. And the old announcer jinx appears early as that wobbles out of bounds at the 36-yard line. A 28-yard punt. He's now a top 15 punter in America. No score. We're just underway as the sun shines on Lexington.
Back here in Lexington, where Rebels quarterback Austin Simmons came to the sideline and immediately yelled to athletic training staff in frustration. They looked at his left ankle for a while, heavily taped it, and they eventually taped both of his ankles. He then loosened up on the bike, and Simmons is intense, constantly moving on the sideline, eager to get back out on the field, Sean.
He is on the field for 1st and 10, second possession for the Rebels from their own 36. Kewan Lacey trying to get outside. He cut not, and he got blasted for no gain on the play.
Got to keep an eye now on Austin Simmons with that left ankle, because that's his back foot. That's the foot that provides the power as a lefty. That's the foot you push off of. So if it's at less than 100%, it could affect velocity.
Good play by Ty Bryant up from the secondary. Play action pass. It comes out to Deuce Alexander. Down the sideline and out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. He's one of those transfers from Wake Forest, and the coaches say he brings what he just demonstrated. A lot of speed. 30-yard gain. They line up quickly. Alexander went in motion. Kewan Lacey, the ball carrier, for a gain of 1.
A moment to go on that catch and run. Ole Miss targeting Tyrion Nichols, who's in for the injured DJ Waller at corner. So he's having to start. Big missed tackle there that led to the big play. Expect Ole Miss to keep targeting him.
Waller would have been a starter. He's out with a hamstring injury. Tyrion Nichols was likely to be part of a 3 cornerback rotations, and now they'll lean more heavily on him. And that can be hard to do against this fast-paced, wide-open Ole Miss offense. Play fake by Simmons, and his pass is over the head of the tight end, Daquan Wright, who they think is going to be a high draft pick in the National Football League. 3rd down and 10. They're right on the edge of field goal range.
Very important here for Austin Simmons. You have to get the ball out. Does Brad White, the defensive coordinator for Kentucky, opt to bring pressure and see if he can knock him out of field goal range with the sack?
Very little breeze to speak of. Simmons to the sideline, incomplete. Diving attempt made, but it falls to the turf. Intended again for Deuce Alexander. And what will Lane Kiffin do? He'll send the field goal team on. They went into the portal and got one of the best in the country over from Western Kentucky, Lucas Carnero, who was 2 for 2 last week in his Rebels debut. And career 6 for 6 from 50 plus with a long of 54. This is going to be 51 and a fraction. Oscar Bird, the punter, is the holder. Plenty of leg, and it is no good. Close, but not through. Plenty of distance, but hit the upright and caromed away. You're watching SEC All Day, presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts.
And now I live it. Ain't it a gift to know it's God gift?
SEC on ABC College Football is presented by Burger King. You rule.
Back in Lexington, Kentucky, still no score. We'll look at today's impact players, some of them presented by the Home Depot.
For Ole Miss, it's their defensive lineman, Xavier Harris. They're going to move him around. He's a big, physical, 6'8", 330-pound run stopper. And Kendrick Law, receiver, transferred from Alabama. He's the one guy that Bush Hamden, the offensive coordinator, feels we not to manufacture touches for him in this game.
Maybe it'll be right here on a jet sweep. He didn't have a touch last week in the opener against Toledo. Seth McGowan in at running back. He made his way out to the 39-yard line, a 4-yard pickup for the transfer from New Mexico State, where he was the leading rusher last year with more than 800 yards. Both he and Dante Dowdell rushed for more than 75 yards in the opener against Toledo. A lot of Dowdell's was on a late 79-yard touchdown run that helped put the game away. Zach Calzada. Quick pop. There's a flag down. There is Kendrick Law right on cue. Showing off that speed. There's another flag downfield. 2 of them thrown near the end of the run. 4 flags on the field. 2 at the line of scrimmage, 2 near the end of the play. And a lot to sort out for our referee, David Smith, leading this SEC crew. Mark Stoops very pleased. They had only 1 penalty on offense last week against Toledo, and that was on the first play of the game.
Holding on the offense. That penalties decline. Illegal formation on the offense. 5 or more players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, he had twice as many penalties on the offense on one play here.
And just a big mistake from Calzada. You referenced it. He's got to get the receiver at the top onto the ball. You cannot make that mistake. As a guy that's played 7 years of football, you got to make sure everybody's on the line of scrimmage before you snap the ball. That one's on the quarterback.
And he has been around. 24 years old is Zach Calzada from Buford, Georgia. He'll be 25 in November. By contrast, Austin Simmons is 19, having already graduated from college. So a big penalty against an offense that has trouble making big plays. Given time, Calzada throws it up for grabs, and it is incomplete. Looked like it was going to be picked off by Suntarian Perkins, who dropped way downfield into coverage. And instead, it was an opportunity for Seth McGowan, who bobbled it and couldn't possess it.
Man, so close. It looked like McGowan was going to bring it in. Did Suntarian Perkins get a piece of it? Just enough to kind of alter the rotation of that ball, in a big missed opportunity for Kentucky.
And it's early, but when you're the underdog like the Cats are today, you can't afford the penalties and those kinds of missed opportunities. So they'll give Perkins credit, a defensive end who has played some linebacker, dropping way downfield, screened against some pressure. Dante Dowdell out of bounds, short of the line to gain by about 2.5 yards. And guessing that this will not be the 4th down that Mark Stoops goes for, but he does have the offense still on the field, and the crowd likes it.
He's been a guy in the past that has been kind of criticized for being maybe a little too conservative at times. Of course, rolled the dice in success last year against Ole Miss, but maybe changing his ways a bit here.
Well, they better hustle, because the play clock is down to 6 and they're still in the huddle.
Try to draw him off sides.
Well, they're going to run out of time to do that. And they're going to call a timeout. Will he stick with the offense on the field? No score. Nearly midway through the first quarter in Lexington. Well, after some consideration, Mark Stoops has Zach Calzada in the offense on the sideline and the punt unit on the field. I think this is the right thing, Greg. You know, he's a field position, defense, possess the ball kind of guy. You don't want to turn the ball over here.
Completely agree. Defense had a couple nice possessions early outside of a missed tackle or two, and you could potentially, with the great punt, back up Ole Miss with the back to the student section for a young quarterback. It's a hostile spot.
Aiden LaRosse, the punter. This is kind of the field position. If they were inclined to fake, they might. This is a much better punt. And a fair catch made by Harrison Wallace III. 40-yard punt. There's the Taco Bell Liv Moss student section. Only one student section can claim the title of Liv Moss Student Section of the Year. Who will take home the trophy? University of Kentucky school of 36,000 students in the beautiful bluegrass country south of Cincinnati, southeast of Louisville. And a good crowd here, not quite a sellout. The rain this morning might have kept a few folks away. So third possession for Ole Miss. Austin Simmons 2 out of 5 for 42 yards. And they've run the ball 5 times for a total of just 7 yards. After the play fake, swung out wide, and a good tackle made by J.Q. Hardaway on Deuce Alexander. 5-yard gain. And Alexander 3 catches in the opener against Georgia State. Lacey, 1 year at Missouri. He's from Dallas. Lane Kiffin said that he thought he was going to get him out of high school. He was surprised when Lacey went to Missouri, but after 1 year there, he's come to Ole Miss, and they love him. And it looked like he got just enough for the first down on a direct snap. to the sophomore. What do they like about him?
He's got a lot of elusiveness. Made a lot of guys miss last week. He's high hip, so he's kind of a long strider, but he's got tremendous contact balance. And they're occupying that Wildcat spot that they've utilized so much in the past on short yardage. They think he's got plenty of power to get those tough yards.
They don't huddle very often, obviously trying to catch Kentucky off guard. Low snap, handled by Simmons, lofts it up, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Ty Bryant. And back it comes to the 30-yard line. First interception of the season for Ty Bryant, a junior from right here in Lexington.
And what a play by Bryant. He's over here and his eyes are back the entire way. Zone coverage is what they employ. Bad snap, low and left. Simmons kind of panics, but Bryant baits him right into it. He thinks he's going to be taking the flat defender. He doesn't. Simmons never locates him, and it's a bad interception by the young, talented quarterback.
Wonder if the snap threw it off. They do sometimes question his decision making. He has tremendous anticipation and a terrific arm. They actually kind of like the fact he threw a bad interception last week against Ole Miss, against Georgia State at Ole Miss in the end zone. They used it as a teaching point. Dante Dowdell running hard and effectively to the 23-yard line. They get 7 after the takeaway. Give him 8, in fact.
They feel like they have really rebuilt this offensive line with a lot of guys that have played a ton of football. They went to the G5 level, getting their left tackle and right tackle to employ a lot of high ceiling players. Now, the left guard is the straw that stirs the drink, though. Josh Braun, physical tone setter that's played a lot in the SEC.
They have a returning starter at center in Jagger Burton. He's outstanding, the leader to that group up front. Dowdell did not get the first down. They call it the big blue wall, and for many of these 13 seasons under Mark Stoops, it's been a strength. They are experienced. Now 171 combined starts among the total group. Only Virginia and Illinois have more.
These are the downs that you go and get those guys that have seen short yardage at the highest level before in college football. They went with some quarterback sneaks last week. Let's see if they do it again.
He's a big guy. Calzada, 6'4", 230, has the first down. They will huddle. They will bleed the clock. As we said, they held the ball for more than 39 minutes in Oxford last year.
Big part of this offense in the red zone last year was centered around quarterback run. That's because that really suited what their quarterbacks did well. Calzada, not the runner that they had a year ago in Vandegrift and Wimsatt, but still is effective enough to keep you honest in the run game.
Because they don't have really a #1 wide receiver, they'll try to get guys loose with formations, bunches, and stacks. Right now it's just 4 wide. He's looking for Josh Caddis, the tight end, who got his feet tangled up. That was not a promising throw anyway for Calzada, as that was thrown into double coverage. And it's an incomplete pass.
Way too greedy from Calzada here. Trying to fit it into Caddis, but there's a defender working inside out, and that's TJ Banks, and little friendly fire with an accurate throw. It's picked, but an inaccurate throw, the little safe there, and Stoops has to hate that.
Stoops wanted the flag. Our referee expert Matt Austin says no, he did not think that was worthy of a penalty. 2nd and 10. There goes Law, and here comes that jet sweep. He has a blocker, McGowan, out in front. And Law out of bounds at the 12. Good play call by Bush Hamden. And clearly they're making more of an effort to use the talents of Kendrick Law. Officially a forward pass in an 8-yard game.
Yeah, making a real effort to get him as many touches and manufacture as they can. But how about the block by McGowan? Said early in the show, these running backs are the tone setters. He decleats a secondary player to allow Law to hug the sideline to set up another 3rd and short.
Third down and 2 from the 12. No score, 3.5 to go opening quarter. They give it to the fullback. Dante Dowdell lined up in that position. And he got the first down just inside the 10.
Can anticipate Kentucky to continue to challenge that offensive line. See if they can continue to push. But the off tackle's been pretty good. Get those big bodies for Ole Miss moving a little bit sideways and run behind your 2 tight ends to the right-hand side.
Dowdell. About a half yard, and that's it. But this is going about as well as Mark Stoops and his staff could have hoped. They'd like to see another game, low scoring, where they possess the ball, keep that Ole Miss offense off the field.
Yeah, their offense absolutely has to do their part in playing defense today. Keep away, force some impatience on the Ole Miss sideline.
8th play of the drive, and they haven't gone very far. Seth McGowan in at running back now. Calzada moves him into the pistol. And after a look to the sideline, gets some instruction. He's running out of time. 1 second, timeout. They burned 2.
Your second. This will be a 30-second timeout. 30-second timeout.
And both of them used because they were slow to get organized. While on offense, that's the kind of thing that'll drive a coach and a fan base crazy. More great college football action after our game tonight on ABC. Off we go to Oklahoma. 7:30, number 15, Michigan against number 18, Oklahoma. Just the 2nd meeting ever between these 2 great traditional college football powers. The other was back in 1976. And I think both fan bases, Greg, very excited about the debut of their new starting quarterbacks.
Yeah, what a week it was for Bryce Underwood. First college start, did a lot of great things for Michigan. You could see why he was one of the top players in the country coming out of high school. And John Mateer, just a dynamo. He is so much fun to watch for Oklahoma. That is
392 in his debut against Illinois State last week and 3 touchdown passes.
That's going to be a fun one tonight with those 2 guys at the helm.
2 minutes to go in the quarter. 2nd and goal from the 9 with McGowan the running back. And a timeout called by Ole Miss.
Timeout. Ole Miss, they're first. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Well, it's interesting. Zach Calzada, 7 years, 3 years at Texas A&M. The last one there in 21, he was the starter. Started 10 games, went 6-4. But I think he's been kind of considered a journeyman since last couple of years at Incarnate Ward. Pete Golding's the defensive coordinator now for Ole Miss. He was at Alabama in 2021, and we asked about Calzada. He said, well, the last thing I remember, he was spinning the ball all over the place when Alabama was #1 in October of 2021. And Calzada led the Aggies to a 41-38 win for Jimbo Fisher on that Seth Small field goal as time expired. Calzada went 21 for 31 in that game for 285, 3 touchdowns.
He was lights out, and he's a streaky player. Like, when he gets it going, man, he is tough to defend, and so far a little off the mark early in this one.
Willie Rodriguez went in motion. McGowan puts his head down. Touchdown, Kentucky. What an effort by Seth McGowan. They take advantage of the short field. After the interception thrown by Austin Simmons, Jacob Coway makes it 7-0 Kentucky.
And a great job by the interior of this offensive line. Look at these two big bodies. Braun, the guard, and center Jagger Burton just kicking it out right there. And a nice cut up inside by McGowan, who lowers his shoulder and finds pay dirt. Excellent work by this retooled offensive line.
Seth McGowan. What an effort. His second touchdown at one last week against Toledo. They took 8 plays to go 31 yards. It took 4:19 off the clock. And they score first with just under 2 minutes to go. Austin Simmons. I think he's going to need to tighten it up, Greg, going forward. You can get away with it in a game like Georgia State where you win 63-7. But in games that are likely to be close, you can't make those kind of mistakes.
Absolutely can't. Great teaching experience on the sideline for Ole Miss. Quarterback coach Joe Judge got to settle him down. If a play or a snap is offline, don't try to be a hero. Just don't make the play worse. And that's what he did with the costly interception.
Aiden LaRosse kicks off. And it's a touchback. Here's Kevin Nagandi.
Good afternoon, Sean. We're keeping fans connected as we take a look at our multi-view, which is showcasing a bunch of great games events across our networks. You see the U.S. Open Women's Championship underway. Sabalenka with an early lead against Anisimova. And we're keeping an eye on that Troy 7-0 lead over number 8 Clemson. That game on the ACC network in a delay at the moment. And you can get all of this right on the new ESPN app. Back to you and Greg.
There's some nasty weather around parts of the country today. Could be other delays elsewhere. Logan Diggs is in at running back now. The backup to Kejuan Lacey. Simmons out of the gun. Kentucky brings heat. And they run away from it. Austin Simmons could not escape.
Last couple times they've been a little behind the sticks. They've gone with a quick RPO and thrown the hitch to the outside. Did they go back to the well here? Because those Kentucky Wildcats are probably thinking about defending it.
Khalil Saunders made the play for Kentucky. It's a remade defense. They lost a lot of headliners from a year ago. Saunders nowhere near on the same page. Probably not catchable anyway, as it landed well across the boundary in the general direction of Harrison Wallace III. Life on the road, a struggle early for Lane Kiffin and his young quarterback.
And they tried to go. They thought the hitch, and look, you're going to see the route. Quick hitch, show it, then go. Great job, though, by Hardaway, the corner, staying on top of it and forcing the incompletion.
Logan Diggs remains the running back. 3rd down and a long 9. And it's intercepted again. Again by Ty Bryant. And he's again inside the 35. Lane Kiffin sprinting out onto the field. He's going to calm down his young quarterback.
The offensive line was a problem at times last week, and now you can see kind of in the middle. Watch this pass rush right up the middle, working against Bryson Sanders, the center. David Gusta goes right around him, forces the high throw. Terrific pass rush there from Kentucky, and they thought they were twitchier. They thought they were more athletic. They thought they would be better rushing the passer on the interior, and it showed off right there.
What an afternoon for Ty Bryant, a Kentucky football legacy. His dad Cisco played here in the mid-'80s for the great Jerry Claiborne. 4 interceptions already in less than 5 quarters for Austin Simmons. Dante Dowdell wrestled down, flagged down. Sideline celebrating for Kentucky. A face mask call coming here against Ole Miss.
Personal foul, face mask, number 96 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Big left hand up there. It's Jamarius Brown, who grabs and drags down the running back there, Dowdell, for Kentucky. An easy call. Ole Miss has to settle down across the board right now on both sides of the ball.
A minute to go in the first quarter. They've turned it over twice. Ole Miss has had a field goal clang off the upright. Crowd very quiet when they have the ball on offense. Calzada takes the sack. First for Ole Miss. It comes back near the 25-yard line. Will Eccles there first for Ole Miss for a 9-yard loss.
And just a great job by Eccles working right around Braun, who led the way on the touchdown run a moment ago, and he just gets beat right around the edge. There's just absolutely nothing Calzada can do but to eat it and live to play second and long.
He lost a lot of talent, some NFL talent on that defensive line from a year ago. Walter Nolan, Princely Umanmielen, J.J. Pegues, where they think they have plenty remaining. Dowdell weaves his way back to the 21 on the final play of the first quarter, a 4-yard gain. Kentucky leads 7-0. They're poised to add to that lead. A couple of interceptions thrown by Simmons, both to Ty Bryant. Our presentation of college football on ABC will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Start of the second quarter. Kentucky Giant upset Ole Miss for the second year in a row, leading 7-0. And they have third down and 15 at the Ole Miss 21. In field goal range. Safe play. Kendrick Law stumbles down at the 15. I think that's the right approach, don't you? Take the field goal and maybe hope with that play call Law can do something special after the catch.
Absolutely, especially with a quarterback that has a history of maybe taking a little too much risk in third down situations. So protect the points, take it underneath, make the field goal a little easier.
There's a new kicker, Jacob Coway, backed up Alex Rayner last year, and Rayner was terrific, made 15 out of 16. Coway from Billings, Montana, has a big leg, made his only try last week against Toledo. From 33. And good. So it's the same formula. It's worked well for Mark Stoops. Played good defense, take advantage of chances. A moment ago, he was with Molly.
Safety Ty Bryant with 2 interceptions in that first quarter. What is your defense doing to frustrate quarterback Austin Simmons?
We're mixing it up. You know, obviously we're affecting him, getting some pressure, and mixing up our looks, but it's a long game.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
It is a long game, an explosive Ole Miss offense. But right now, Ty Bryant is the man of the hour in his hometown.
And just beautifully played on that first one. I mean, just baited Austin Simmons into trying to throw it downfield. And then on this one, the pressure results in a high throw. And there he is to reel it in. A terrific start with their coverage and with their pass rush so far to see if they can affect the accuracy of the quarterback.
He's a junior. He had 1 career interception entering today. He's had 2 in the first half today. Isaiah Hartrip back for the kickoff from Aiden LaRosse. And it's another touchback. So they love his maturity, that they have been concerned that he can be a little too confident in his arm and in his decision making.
And it's showing off so far today. And Austin Simmons, what does Charlie Weiss do to now kind of calm him down? I mean, get him an easy completion. Let him kind of see the ball go into the receiver's hands. Move the pocket a little bit. Simplify things for your young quarterback, because you know things are flying around in his head right now. He's probably seeing some ghosts with what that defense is doing.
Kewan Lacey back in at running back. Out wide to Deuce Alexander. We're going to keep trying that and hope they can break a tackle. That defender has to make the tackle, and Hardaway did. Well, last year they were 4-0 when these two teams met. They were averaging 55 points per game. That was against lesser competition. Almost 672 yards per game. Kentucky held them to 17 in Oxford. And almost half that total. The defense that knows how to play against this offense for Caden Lee. Another ball thrown into traffic and broken up.
Man, and the ball right now that's coming out of Austin Simmons' hand is just not like anything we've seen so far. This ball was behind. This ball was late. If the defender turns around a little bit earlier, might be able to pick it off. Just a bad throw there from Simmons.
Well defended by Quaysheed Scott. Sophomore, new starter in that secondary. On 2nd and 10, it's Kewan Lacey to the 42-yard line. They lost a lot of talent in that secondary, did Kentucky. Maxwell Hairston was a first-round pick of the Buffalo Bills. Zion Childress on the practice squad with Dallas. And these new starters getting the job done so far. On 3rd and 3, Simmons lowered his head and did not get the first down. Well, what do you do here if you're Lane Kiffin?
Well, I think you go for it. I think you trust your defense. Defense has played pretty well, had a couple short fields. I think you go for it. You go with a similar play, quarterback run, or do one of the direct snap Wildcat plays that they've had success with in the past.
They think it's an improved offensive line. Here's a big test. And the ball was moved. I believe they stopped it because you can see the ball's right on the 45-yard line, and he actually came up about a half-yard short.
Looked like the center.
Repositioning the ball in its original spot.
It's not cheating if you get away with it.
Hey, why not try, right? Maybe they won't see this, guys. Let me just sneak that ball forward just a hair.
Brad White, the defensive coordinator, in his 8th year on staff, hoping for a stop. They go out of the gun and they're going to throw it, and it is caught. A big play down the sideline. Harrison Wallace down to the goal line. 4th and inches, and they go to a play-action pass, and a much-needed big play for the Rebs all the way to the 1, 55 yards, and they run up to the line quickly. Kewan Lacey, touchdown, Ole Miss.
Just a critical sequence for Ole Miss's offense. Great job getting into an unusual formation where they had a hard time identifying who was where. You have Wallace, who's there in the backfield, kind of lined up in a wing alignment. He sneaks out on the corner. Big play sets up the punch-in answering touchdown.
Lucas Carnero for the extra point. And that has quieted this raucous crowd in Lexington. Wallace, the third one to be targeted more often than he was at Penn State. He's getting his opportunities. 55 yards on 4th down. Lacey, the touchdown. You're watching the SEC on ABC. From Kroger Field in Lexington, Kentucky. This is the first game of the conference season. Well, the rest of the SEC squad still out of conference here in week 2. 10-7, Kentucky. Ole Miss kicks off. Carnero's kick is a touchback.
And this was a great play on 4th down. I love how they have all of the guys. It looks like run play. I mean, look at exactly what they're thinking. They're thinking 7 yards, that's the deepest. And then boom, you just sneak out Wallace. They're anticipating full run. They're selling out against the run. And you get your speedster one-on-one in the back end. He throws a perfect back shoulder ball, leads to a huge play. Tremendous execution and operation from Ole Miss there.
And a play they needed to have, and Austin Simmons needed to execute. They schemed the receiver wide open. Charlie Weiss Jr., terrific offensive coordinator. It's the longest completion of Simmons' career. Brief that it is. He got into 9 games as a backup. Here's Seth McGowan running hard. Zach Calzada said last week he runs like he's mad at the ground.
He does too, man. He finishes runs like you wouldn't believe. And so far, this Kentucky offense, led by both McGowan and Dowdell, a lot of perimeter runs, a lot of stretch runs, not attacking the middle like they usually do, more on the edges, which has been advantageous.
McGowan got 5. He remains the running back with Calzada out of the gun. Low throw, and apparently caught it without putting a knee down, and it's a first down. Troy Stellato, newcomer, transfer from Clemson.
They keep saying that Stellato just makes plays, man, just highly productive, but did he catch it?
I don't think so, looking at that.
Like he kind of trapped it on the low throw from Calzada.
Previous play is under video review. The ruling on the field was a catch.
I don't think so. We'll give you the verdict from the replay booth. Ken Switzer hands down. It is an incomplete pass. Troy Stellato couldn't handle the low throw. Caught it with a downward motion, hit the ground. So here's 3rd and 5 for Kentucky. In its own 30, leading by 3 early second quarter. Calzada, and that's batted down, tried to jam it into Willie Rodriguez. And it was well played by Anthony Kite. One of many newcomers in that secondary, and they think he's very talented over from Auburn.
Yeah, terrific job here. I don't love the matchup if you're Kentucky. You have a tight end that does have some speed working against the best cover guy in the Ole Miss secondary. Probably want to work to the other side, avoid that matchup in the future.
Am I right that Kite was at Alabama and Auburn?
Correct. Yes. Both sides of the rivalry. Happens a lot in 2025.
Now at Ole Miss. Yeah. 3 schools, he's just getting started.
It'd be like going to Harvard and Syracuse, you know.
It's similar, very similar academic profile.
Yeah, for sure.
Aiden LaRosse, high and short, and down near the 32. 38-yard punt. The 56th season of Monday Night Football kicks off September 8th. That's this Monday on ESPN ABC and ESPN Deportes, 8 o'clock Eastern. The Vikings and the Bears. Peyton and Eli's alternate broadcast on ESPN 2. They're smiling today with Arch's bounce-back performance. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6, and already this NFL season off to a rollicking start.
How about it? I mean, wild game between Cowboys and the Eagles. The rain delay, guys getting tossed before the first snap, and then a big upset. The Chiefs losing in Brazil. Just a crazy start to the season.
I don't know if that was big.
Not huge. AFC West a little different now than it's been the last couple years.
Austin Simmons out slinging. Dejon Stribling transfer from Oklahoma State for 9 yards. First 4 drives, 2 interceptions. The last drive, the big 4th down play, 4th and inches, they went for 55 to set up the touchdown. Simmons, after holding it for a moment, gave it to Kejuan Lacey. Flag down. Back behind the line of scrimmage. Lacey got the first down with room to spare if it stands.
Personal foul. Hands in the face on the defense. Number 90. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Nikes Humphrey Grace.
Just that right hand of Humphrey Grace up into the the cage there of Jaden Williams, and an easy call there for the official.
So 7-yard run, add on another 15.
It's right here where you got to be kind of careful. This is where Charlie Weiss likes to take a shot. 1st and 10, plus side of the 50. That's where you got to be very mindful of the deep ball.
And a flag thrown on the snap for a false start against Ole Miss.
False start. Number 11 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. first down.
Goose Alexander was in a 3-receiver set to the right. So for the second week in a row in his first 2 starts of his career, Austin Simmons threw 2 first-quarter interceptions.
Just getting an early start, and there's just nothing that drives you more crazy as a quarterback than when your receivers jump off sides. We watch the ball.
1st and 15 after the quick fake. Alexander breaks a tackle. Deuce Alexander, first down inside the 25.
That's another hitch targeting to Ryan Nichols, who's now missed 2 tackles, led to big yards after catch. Have to be sure in the back end.
Cam Dooley came over to make the stop. Now these quick throws with one-on-one coverage, they're going to have to tackle well. Kentucky. T1 Lacey, after the 23-yard pass play, gets them to the 17. Steven Souls Jr., talented linebacker, stopped it after a 4-yard pickup. They're starting to dominate in the yardage. Lacey got away from penetration and got a yard or 2 on a direct snap. Of course, those Kentucky points set up by the short fields off a couple of interceptions, and now clinging to the 3-point lead.
And when they get in 3rd and medium in the red zone, you can expect some stacks and bunches, condensed formations that make it very difficult to pass things off. That's what it looks like Ole Miss is lining up in here.
3rd down and 4. Simmons to the goal line. They signal touchdown. They will definitely take a look at it. It was close, but if it stands, it's a 15-yard touchdown run. He's down. Elbow down ball. Still making its way toward the goal line. They'll likely bring this back to about 6 inches short of the goal line.
The previous play is under video review. The ruling on the field was a touchdown.
Knee down as well.
I'm with you, Sean. Let's watch that elbow. I feel like that left knee right there, and then elbow following closely behind, so maybe just outside, maybe right at the 1-yard line, but this ball should be reversed. A great bounce back from Austin Simmons in the Ole Miss offense the last couple drives.
Well, he's a very good athlete. He came to Ole Miss hoping to be a 2-sport athlete and play baseball as well. You might expect a talented pitcher, which he says has really helped his quarterbacking because he can adjust his arm angles and his football delivery. But football's gone so well that at least for the time being, he's focusing on that. Here's David Smith.
After video review, the runner was short of the goal line. The ball will be placed inside the 1-yard line.
Well, last season this was J.J. Pegues territory. They put that big defensive lineman in there, and he'd help power through.
Yeah, I think you could probably still anticipate some type of direct snap to whoever the ball carrier is going to be and challenge that offensive line.
Their backup quarterback is Trinidad Chambliss. They do expect to be using him in short yardage and goal line situations. He is not out there at the moment. Damian Taylor takes the direct snap, and he gets stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Tavion Gadsden helping lead the way to Ryan Nichols up from the secondary.
That time, Kentucky just pinching everything along the defensive front and collapsing on that north-south run. After seeing that, if I'm Charlie Weiss, I'm kind of thinking, hey, quick fake inside, buzz someone out in the flat, see if you can't catch him outflanked.
Looks like it'll still be a snap to Taylor. It is, with lead blockers and a touchdown. Ole Miss leads for the first time today. First 4 drives, 51 yards, 2 interceptions. The last 2, 145 yards total and 2 TDs. And the dunk in celebration, and they didn't break the hoop as Xavier Harris did last week. Extra point good by Lucas Carnero. So the Rebels have come back from a rough start. They lead by 4. Kentucky led 10-0, but Ole Miss has rallied back to take a 14-10 lead on a touchdown run from short range by Damian Taylor. His first as a Rebel. He comes over after 4 years at Troy. He was a 1,000-yard rusher a year ago. All Sun Belt player. He's a role player here. Played that role very well on the goal line. So here comes Kentucky, led by Zach Calzada. And a carousel at quarterback. Starting transfers regularly. Johnson, Wilson, Levis for a couple of years. Devin Leary last year, Brock Vandegrift, and now Calzada. He's here for his 7th year of football after 2 at Incarnate Ward. He said he was going to head into the NFL draft. And then when Mark Stoops called, said here's an opportunity with a team we think can improve with your help. He jumped at it. It has not been very productive. And with a coaching staff that's taking some heat, these sorts of things don't help. 2 timeouts burned. They can't line up right. And the crowd is groaning, and they're going to use their last timeout.
That was smart by Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, too.
Kentucky, they're third.
As soon as Kentucky started to make a substitution, a guy ran out, the center judge will go out and stop it. So what does Ole Miss opt to do? They decide, you know what, we'll make a substitution too, to force the center judge to kind of hold things off just a little longer to make this thing uncomfortable. As you can see, those guys running in, it's the first play of the game drive. You don't need to completely change your personnel. That's just a wise move by Lane Kiffin and his staff, taking advantage of the confusion on the Kentucky sideline with substitution.
Well, Mark Stoops has had a historically great run here. He's the winningest coach in school history over 13 seasons. But last year it was difficult. 4-8, 1 win in conference, the win at Ole Miss. And the heat is ratcheting up on him and on his offensive coordinator, Bush Hamden. It didn't help when it appeared he was leaving for Texas A&M a couple of years ago, and apparently the last minute that offer was pulled back. Fans don't like it when they think you want to leave. Calzada after the play fake. There's Willie Rodriguez, the tight end. Flag down in the offensive backfield. Calzada gesturing as if he got roughed.
Yeah, he got hit. Looked like it was a little bit late as he was delivering the football.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer on the defense. Number 26. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
That's Taj Chambers who comes in and delivers a big shot to Calzada. I mean, that was a vicious hit and a good call by the official who's all over it.
Chambers didn't like it. He's a new linebacker. He's over from Missouri State. Just 2 starters back on the Ole Miss defense that was stout last year. TJ Daugherty and Suntarian Perkins. From just shy of midfield, a good hole open for Dante Dowdell. TJ Banks made the stop. He's one of the few returnees in that secondary, surrounded by a lot of transfers.
You have to be pleased, though, with what you've seen if you are a Kentucky fan, with how this offensive line is gelling. This is their first real test against top-tier competition, and they're winning at the point of attack, especially on the edges a little bit.
Dowdell again. And he has a first down to the Rebel 40. Well, their offensive line wasn't up to that big blue wall standard. Joshua Brown, the left guard, with tons of experience. This is his 52nd career game. He's played at Florida and Arkansas. They love the center, Jagger Burton, who's been here without transferring.
You heard that correctly. Jalen Farmer, the right guard, over from Florida. They think he's a talent upgrade as well. Seth McGowan in at running back now.
See if they take a shot here.
They want to. Calzada, very deep drop and incomplete. Intended for Josh Caddis. He really wasn't open. And he had no chance to catch that ball.
Yeah, not a terrible decision there from Calzada. Your offensive coordinator trusts you enough. Plus side of the 50, take a shot. They do. Don't throw it into traffic. Don't take an unnecessary risk. Airmail it over the top. Maybe your guy, I don't know, grows 7 feet and makes the catch, or it falls incomplete. So not a terrible decision there from the veteran.
2nd and 10. Running room for Kendrick Law. And a good tackle along the near sideline.
Probably thinking 4-down territory here. Plus territory. Ole Miss's offense is starting to get rolling a little bit, so you're going to need some points if you're Bush Hamden, the offensive coordinator. So I'm sure Mark Stoops is echoing to him, hey, give me your best run here on 3rd and short, because I'm going to give you a chance to come back and probably run it again for the conversion on 4th.
Tackle by Chris Graves Jr. Held it to a 6-yard gain. 3rd down and 4. They are in field goal range for Coway. Pressure brought by Pete Golding. Calzada on the run. Open receiver and a catch. And their first play of 10 yards or more today. They had only 3 in the season opener against Toledo. This one's for 15 and a 1st down.
And just a great job. They really lose track of them with the bunch. As you can see, Gilmore breaking open. It took Calzada a while to get there, but he finally got to the correct place. If he can get rid of that ball a little quicker, might have a chance to give Gilmore some run after catch.
Hardly Gilmore, the 4th, with the catch. Transferred briefly to Nebraska. Play clock running out. They can't use another timeout. They just did get it off. Calzada through the hands of Caddis. They want to take the clock down as much as they can, own the time of possession, keep Ole Miss off the field. But they didn't want to have to use all of their timeouts and almost have to take a penalty there while doing it.
Especially in the red zone where the operation just has to be so clean. And that's multiple times now, 3-4 times, where receivers are changing sides. Mark Stoops has to be so frustrated with the communication or the lack thereof, because they are really flirting with disaster by losing 5 in the red zone.
2nd and 10. From the 18. Good bounce by Dowdell, and then a leap to go down to the 13-yard line. He went up and over Kapena Gushikin, one of the new safeties, a Hawaiian, a transfer from Washington State.
3rd and medium now in the red zone. They keep talking about how impressed they are with Kendrick Law's potential. Not the most natural route runner, but he's a guy that you might be able to hide in a bunch set, which I would expect them to use here. Tight, condensed set right here at the bottom. I'd be working this direction if I'm Calzada.
We're running out of time. Throws it into a crowd, and it's incomplete. Very fortunate to get away with that. Will Eccles put some pressure on.
Very fortunate if you're Calzada. It looked like Kite was going to go up and make the play, but it also looked at the same time like Gushikin actually tipped it away from him. So unfortunate that the great defense from Gushikin led to the incompletion, because that would have been picked if he doesn't touch it.
A 62-yard drive stalls. They had it for 9 plays. Here's Coway from 31 to get them within 1. It is good with 4.5 to go.
was a brutal start for the Ole Miss offense as their freshman quarterback, young quarterback, Simmons, throws a couple early picks. The first one, bad decision. Second one, got hit, but fourth down answer on 4th and short. They pay it off a moment later with the touchdown. Since then, they've had tons of rhythm offensively. The run game starting to open up a little bit. The coverage on the outside starting to soften up a little bit. And Austin Simmons looking a lot more accurate here in the second quarter than we saw in the first.
Two interceptions. Kentucky turned those Ty Bryant picks into 10 points. A couple of very impressive touchdown drives by Ole Miss, and then by far the best possession on offense for Kentucky. Simmons in this quarter is 4 out of 5 for 97 yards, including that big 4th down in inches 55-yard pass play out of the tricky formation. Another touchback.
Sean, State Farm halftime report minutes away. Booger McFarland, Kevin Nagandi here with you. A handful of games in action. Right now, Georgia is up 14-3. That game in a delay. Clemson still down 7-0 in a delay. We'll also have highlights. A Cyhawk finish you have to see. Plus, Baylor knocking off SMU. Back to you.
And Cyhawk rivalry, one of the best in college football, Iowa and Iowa State. Logan Diggs, the ball carrier. Out to the 29-yard line. Had a hard time getting the running game going. 56 yards rushing. Play pass. Trey Wallace across the 40.
They're going to take that hitch over and over and over again. That's now 4 times they've thrown the hitch underneath. It's led to a missed tackle by the corner. They need to get him up and talk Simmons out of it.
11-yard gain. Back to the run they go with Diggs.
This is an offense that is so heavily dependent on RPO, and it's really just isolation. It's easy reads for the quarterback. If the corner is soft and you're allowing the hitch underneath, just take it all day long. So what you have to do as a defense is show soft and then come up quickly at the snap to talk him out of it.
Lacey, nice run. T1 Lacey refusing to go down. And he's finally stopped at the 32-yard line for a 26-yard gain. There's an injured player on the play. It's a Kentucky Wildcat being helped off back by the 45-yard line. Tavion Gadsden being helped off.
Nice job there by the left guard, Delano Townsend, who accepts the blitzing linebacker and just turns him to the inside to allow the running back to run right off his left shoulder. Just really well executed by the left side of the offensive line to get Lacey into some space.
Lacey up to 59 yards on 12 carries. He has a touchdown. He had 3 TDs last week. The 4 TDs tied for the most by an Ole Miss player through the team's first 2 games of the season in the last 30 years. Henry Parrish Jr., Scotty Phillips, Deuce McAllister, and Artie Moore, the only others to do it. So off to a nice start with the Rebs. He slips as he tried to make a cut on this artificial turf. 4-yard gain. They are in field goal range, leading by 1, under 3 minutes to go. 2 timeouts for Ole Miss in the half and none for Kentucky.
Now you look at the coverage down here at the bottom. Tight coverage, talk you out of that hitch they've thrown over and over again.
Lacey dropped for a loss. Cam Olds made the play.
This is a down and distance where Brad White likes to utilize simulated pressures. The only blitz or rush 4, but it looks like more to the quarterback. See if they opt to heat him up here.
2 out of 6 on 3rd down. That's one more conversion than they had last year in Oxford against Kentucky. And they went 1 out of 10. A big part of that upset loss. 2-minute timeout. Another tight one between Ole Miss and Kentucky. You're watching the SEC on ABC, presented by Burger King. Kentucky mascot and crowd trying to help the defense stop a big 3rd down and 8 for Ole Miss from the Kentucky 30-yard line. Quick hitter to Lacey with work to do. He's done some of it. Rare poor tackling by this Kentucky defense. They did stop him shy by about 3 yards, and now Lane Kiffin has a decision to make on 4th down. He tends to go for 4th down a lot, and he's going for this one. Heavily analytics driven. Are they about due for those terrific tight ends, Odom and Daquan Wright?
And keep an eye on number 4, Odom. He's attached in line on the top of the screen.
1 for 1 on 4th down. That huge 55-yard play on 4th and inches that set up their first score. They're going to run it all the way down and use a timeout. Only one timeout left in this half. It belongs to Lane Kiffin.
Timeout, Ole Miss. They're second. This will be a 30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 1 minute, 10 seconds. 1-1-0. Thank you.
Well, they say styles make for fights, and I don't know what it is about Mark Stoops' style of defense. Brad White, the coordinator, that matches up so well against this Ole Miss team that goes up and down the field against most of the rest of their opponents, but it's working.
It is. They just force you to be really patient. If you're going to beat Kentucky's defense, you're going to beat them by 1,000 paper cuts. They're not going to give up the big hitter unless you completely confuse them like Ole Miss did on that 4th and short attempt. So I think it's going to be fascinating this year. Do you move the pocket or do you end up taking the 3? It looks like they're going to settle for the 3 here.
Interesting. 43-yard attempt for Carnero. And his first miss ever from 50 yards plus in the first quarter off the upright from 51. In fact, at Western Kentucky, he was 14 out of 15 in his career from 40 plus. That one is more what you've come to expect from Carnero. And the lead grows to 4 for the Rebels. With 1:05 to go and no timeouts left for Kentucky. The Aflac trivia question. I don't know who is the longest tenured head football coach in the SEC. Who has spent the most time in his current job?
I think I have a pretty good idea here.
I think you know.
Yeah. I hope I'd get this one. I would hope. I really would.
Should we just go ahead and answer it?
Let's do it.
The answer is Mark Stoops. Have to have the Duck involved in his 13th season. That's actually the 6th longest tenure in the country. It's the answer of our Aflac trivia question. Kirk Ferentz, Kyle Whittingham, Mike Gundy, Troy Calhoun, Dabo Swinney, the only coaches around the country in any conference have been in their current job longer than Stoops has been here. And most of the track record is terrific. He took over a program that was down, the all-time winningest coach in school history. But the current situation is not pleasing to Coach Stoops or the fan base. He said he takes the blame for what happened last year. He thinks they're a lot better this year.
So far, I know we're less than 6 quarters into the season. I know people were unimpressed with the performance last week against Toledo. That's a good Toledo team. It might be, by season's end, one of the best in the G5. And I think so far here against a very potent offense, they've done some nice things.
They beat Ole Miss last year. They lost to Georgia here by 1, 13-12 early in the year. They had a lead against Tennessee in the second half last year. They got away. They don't think they were as bad as the record would indicate, but as the great Bill Parcells says, you are what your record says you are. I would think this would be very conservative here, Greg, with no timeouts. They get the ball to start the second half, and Ole Miss can only stop it once.
Yeah, I totally agree with this too. If I had a little more trust in the decision making from Zach Calzada, I might give my 7th-year quarterback a chance. But I think it's smart. Just take it to the half, live to play the second half, make a couple tweaks, and come back out ready to roll.
He's very animatedly come to the sideline toward Mark Stoops. I think Mark Stoops is just telling him, we're going to run it, or at least take time off the play clock. Now if you pop a run, you go quick and you snap it, they stop it, you might have to punt the ball away. Now McGowan, he is out to the 47. Now do you take a shot?
Yes, now you can start to think about it, because you got a kicker with a big leg, end of half, end of game situation. You might be willing to try from 60, so now you can get aggressive.
And again, the 3 blown timeouts. He needs to get out of bounds. Jamori Macklin does. Mark Stoops told us yesterday Coway can make them from 60, and he'd try it from that far at the end of the half. They're within that range right now. This will be about 57 for Jacob Coway.
In a perfect world, you would center it up, but you burned all your timeouts.
Yeah, you can't run it in the middle of the field because the half's going to end.
Yeah, and I think you probably just take maybe 2 or 3 yards easier by throwing one to the sideline, get out of bounds.
Just throw it away and take a chance with the 57, right? I mean, if you run a play in bounds, the half's going to end.
Yeah. I mean, what you can't do.
And a fire drill. They can't take a penalty. My goodness.
Snap it and throw it away.
Snap it and throw it away. Do they get it off? They catch it in bounds. There is a flag down. J.J. Hester made the catch. Now this might be the difference between a field goal and not a field goal attempt and not.
Ineligible receiver downfield, number 9 on the offense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still first down.
This has to be on the coaches. Some of this, all these squandered timeouts.
Yeah, I mean, you have all these guys up on the line of scrimmage, and one releases downfield, and just can't have these things happen. It looked like they were off. They lucky they didn't get a false start as well. So
I think the lineman flinched because he knew the play clock was about to run out. I mean, they had to snap the ball. Now Calzada. There's a flag down.
Wow.
And they believe it's a holding call against Kentucky. So briefly on the edge of field goal range, and now not. I think Lane Kiffin might be asking, does this involve a runoff?
Yeah.
Holding on the offense, number 50. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
Alex Wohlschlager, one of the new offensive tackles over from Bowling Green.
And it's on the right side, and as Calzada escapes to his right, just grabs that jersey and doesn't allow the defender to track it down, and just a disastrous end, this disastrous sequence.
Properly. The game clock should be put to 4 seconds. 0-4. Thank you.
The crowd just groans as if to say, what else could go wrong?
57-yard field goal is not high percentage, but you at least have to give yourself a chance to kick it there at the end. Just really a huge issue here the last couple snaps.
And now Ole Miss is using its last timeout. You don't have any dinner plans, do you? All 6 timeouts gone here in the first half. Again, we just chronicled Mark Stoops' tenure, and it's for the most part been a very successful tenure. You know, it's turned south the last couple of years, but these are the kinds of things that if you are in the hot seat, they get you fired. You know, it just does not look like a well-coached football team in terms of the management, the operation. So they do a lot of things really well. I mean, they obviously play great defense, they coach great defense, but the offense and the game management is an issue, at least recently.
And he is lighting up members of his offensive staff. I mean, he should be, because he's not the one calling the plays, calling the formations. That's coming from Bush Hamden, the offensive coordinator, and the rest of the offensive staff. I mean, that is on the offense. I mean,
and doesn't somebody have to say in his headset, okay, we don't have another timeout. We can't run a play in bounds. Just throw the ball, take a snap, throw it out of bounds, and we'll kick a field goal from 57 yards with 6 seconds to go.
Especially with the direct-to-player communications. Like, you can walk your quarterback through it quickly, just spike it, if nothing else. I mean, just really self-inflicted here down the stretch.
Hail Mary defense on for Ole Miss. They have 2 defenders back at their 5-yard line. Calzada has a strong arm. This is going to pad the stats. Now he pitches it forward, I think. And it doesn't matter because he's out of bounds to end the half. There is a flag down. That's an illegal forward pass down around the 33.
Pass on the offense, number 5. That penalty includes a loss of down. By rule, the half is over.
And not a moment too soon. 17-13. Kentucky will get the second half. Maybe they'll defer. Here's Molly.
Coach, 2 first-quarter interceptions for Austin Simmons. What did you say and do to get him settled?
Just told him he's fine. Just calm down. It's a long game, and we're going to be okay. We started about as bad as we could, and now we're ahead at half, so we got to come out, play the way we did in the second quarter the rest of the game, and we'll be fine.
How do you continue to keep Kentucky's offense out of a rhythm?
Well, we got to keep tackling. We got to even tackle better on the runs because they're pretty much one-dimensional, not being able to throw right now. But, we got to tackle and then stay deep because they're going to eventually take some shots.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right.
Sean.
All right, Molly. Interesting, to say the least, first half. And Lane Kiffin's team with 17 points. Involved in another close one with the Cats. We'll send you to the studio now for the State Farm halftime report.
Sean, thank you.
You're watching the SEC on ABC, presented by Burger King. First game in this conference this season. And at the start of the third quarter, Ole Miss has a 17-13 lead over Kentucky. In a game with a lot of twists and turns through the first 30 minutes. Kentucky will get the ball to start the second half. Kendrick Law is back deep. Lucas Carnero will kick off. And it's a touchback. Well, Molly McGrath tells us that at the end of that first half, when Kentucky was really scuffling to line up and get a playoff, they were having problems with their headsets.
Yeah.
And we did see some video where Zach Calzada was telling the sideline, I can't hear anything. So that's a little bit of an excuse, but it does at least explain part of it. There's also other ways to communicate, like signals and other things. But no matter what, it was ugly, and if they need to clean it up, or because their defense is doing what they typically do.
Yeah, the operation started before that last sequence, though. I mean, having to burn 3 timeouts on offense just can't happen, and most of which because guys were not aligned properly. So whether it's from coach to player, player to player, whatever it is, they got to be more efficient in their operation in the second half.
Calzada, little middle screen off the hands of Kendrick Law. Will Eccles got in the way for the Ole Miss defense. Well, they've played a game and a half now. Has Kentucky? They've had 5 explosive plays total against Toledo and Ole Miss. Those are runs of 10 plus or passes of 20. On throws 11 yards or more downfield for the season, Calzada is 1 for 17. So they're getting nothing done down the field. Seth McGowan ahead for a few. Molly?
Yeah, Mark Stoops said there was absolutely no excuse for that miscommunication at the end of the half. So he told his team in the locker room that they need to settle down. He said Zach Calzada is not making good, quick decisions, and said a lot of missed opportunities to run the ball. He pointed to their 68 pass yards in the first half. He wants to see Calzada more decisive in the pass game so they're not so one-dimensional, guys.
He's 8 out of 17 for 68 yards passing. McGowan's the running back. Passive rush. Now they come after him with Suntarian Perkins, and that ball's thrown incomplete, out of bounds, in the general direction of Jamori Macklin. Well, the pressure came late, but it was enough to throw off the pass, and it's a 3 and out for Kentucky to open the half.
And it was really off the left-hand side where he kind of splits. That's Uman Mielen, kind of splits the left tackle. Pete tries to get some help, flushes Calzada to the left where Perkins can close and force the throwaway. Not the start you wanted if you're Mark Stoops offensively.
Aiden LaRosse on the punt. Harrison Wallace III is back deep. 4th punt for LaRosse. Averaged 36 per punt in the first half. His first one was a shank. Fair catch made by Wallace. Ole Miss will start near the 25-yard line. That was a rocky start for Austin Simmons. A couple of early interceptions that were turned into 10 points by Kentucky, but then he settled in.
He really did. Played very, very well in the second quarter. And you look at the first 2 interceptions, he certainly has to shoulder the blame, but he's got to learn as he continues to mature and develop how to not make a bad play worse. Bad snap led to a bad decision, first interception. Bad protection, takes a hit, second interception. Like you said, he settled in and played well down the stretch, but he's got to understand when to cut his losses in the second half.
The first Ole Miss quarterback with multiple interceptions in each of their first 2 games since the SEC expanded in 1992. Well, they've recovered to have the lead, and it's Kejuan Lacey ahead for 5 on their first play from scrimmage of the second half. Lacey had a touchdown in the opening half. He's up to 67 yards rushing and 4.5 per carry. DeJon Stribling, the intended receiver. It is an incomplete pass to Ryan Nichols, sophomore out of Cincinnati, Ohio, in coverage.
And not well caught right there, obviously, with the drop, but well defended. At some point, these corners are going to have to try double move. They're going to squat on those hitches.
They're 2 out of 7 on 3rd down. Nice pocket for Simmons, and his pass too high for Caden Lee. So will Ole Miss go 3 and out on the heels of the 3 and out for Kentucky? It seems they will punt.
That throw right there by Simmons just off the mark. He hasn't missed those throws last week. I mean, everything was right on the money, but today he's probably had 2 or 3 that were just off target to the point in which his receivers can't go up and make a play. He's got to bring that down on the throw.
Oscar Bird, their new punter. He was number 44. He switched to number 33 because that's the number Larry Bird wore. Troy Stellato let it go, and the Rebels downed it at the 29-yard line. Looking forward to that men's final. Nick and Alcaraz again. The Sinner and Alcaraz, I should say, again.
What a rivalry that's become. I can't wait, man. It's been fun watching that this week.
Play, there was no hold on number 34 on the receiving team. Number 34 on the kicking team was the one that was holding, and that is legal. Therefore, there is no foul for holding. The ball was moved back to the end of the kick.
There's a lot going on here today. Yeah, when we went to commercial break, they announced the holding penalty against Kentucky. But obviously, that's not the case. So they get the ball at the 29. Zach Calzada collided a bit with the running back on the handoff. Dante Dowdell for a gain of 2.
The run game's been pretty good, but at some point, Zach Calzada has got to start hitting some throws downfield. So far this season, just off to a dreadful 1 for 18 on throws that travel 11 or more yards downfield. At some point, you have to challenge this Ole Miss defense deep because their secondary is starting to get real tight to the line of scrimmage, begging you to throw it over their head.
I guess the question would be, do they have receivers who can make a play deep? They're sending several receivers deep, and Calzada throws it away. You know, they had Barryon Brown last year as a big playmaker. Here come the Boo Birds louder, including that 63-yard play at the end of the game against Ole Miss to set up the winning touchdown. They had Dane Key. Barryon Brown's now at LSU. Dane Key is at Nebraska. They were the top 2 receivers. So Bush Hamden said when we met yesterday, we don't have a true number one. Part of it was when the transfer portal opened, we didn't have a wide receiver coach, and we didn't know who our quarterback was going to be. So wide receivers were reluctant to commit to come here. We're 3 out of 9 on 3rd down. Scrambling around, flag down where you would expect a holding call, ball up for grabs and incomplete. So Bush Hamden said, you know, he would try, and I understand and believe what he said, you know, to scheme these guys open. Scheme plays deep.
On the offense, that penalty's declined. 4th down.
He talked about bunches. We haven't seen a lot of bunches.
There have been a few, but really only on 3rd down. Early down and distance, want to see more bunches, more stack. You talked a lot about utilizing motion, utilizing some misdirection. There hasn't been much misdirection. When you got things going off tackle with the stretch zone, marry it up with a bootleg to kind of get reverse flow the other way. Like, there just hasn't been much of that to keep this Ole Miss defense off guard.
Baden LaRosse punting. Harrison Wallace the third back at his 25-yard line. End over end line drive punt. Wallace taken down immediately. "45-yard punt." Let's take a look at coverage where it counts, presented by T-Mobile 5G home internet.
A couple picks early from Austin Simmons really sparked this stadium to life. They paid it off with some short field scores, and then Ole Miss found some answers, settled their quarterback down. Critical 4th down conversion led to the first touchdown. They punch it in a little later as well. Ole Miss really found a rhythm there at the end of the first half, and so far here in the second half, they got to settle their quarterback down. He's been a little inaccurate on a couple throws.
Good coverage by Quaysheed Scott on the punt. On 1st down, Kewan Lacey got stood up, so we're not yet 3 minutes into the second half, but neither team can gain an inch right now. That's 0 on the play for Lane Kiffin.
And this game just has an eerily similar feel to last year, where it was ironically 17-13 before Kentucky hit a big shot.
Exact same score when they hit that big play on 4th down. Open receiver, caught! Trey Wallace to the Kentucky 33-yard line. A 43-yard strike, and 2 big games to start his Ole Miss career now for the Penn State transfer. He's over 100 yards receiving in each. He had 130 and a touchdown last week against Georgia State. He has 117 on 4 catches today. Quick slant, Austin Simmons sharp. Caden Lee near another 1st down at the 25-yard line.
And that's what the deep ball does for you. I mean, it just frees you up. Things now playing a little bit softer. Now the slants are coming open. The hitches will come back open here for Austin Simmons as they continue on this drive.
He sent Deuce Alexander out in motion. Kewan Lacey tackled from behind, a big tackle because he had some running room. It was Alex Afari, the outstanding linebacker, at a career-high 13 tackles in the opener against Toledo.
Sensing some fatigue and confusion, you see the tempo coming from Ole Miss offense.
Lacey turns the corner, dragged down near another 1st down at the 10-yard line. It is a 1st down for Ole Miss with an 11-yard pickup by Lacey.
Continue to expect them to continue to just move with some pace, move with some rhythm. Maybe a fake inside, get their tight end out in the flat at some point. Keep an eye on number 8. It's Daquan Wright. He's right there. He's a go-to guy in this part of the field.
You haven't thrown the ball to him for a catch. He's been targeted once. Lacey, all kinds of room. They throw a late flag. The referee threw the flag behind the line of scrimmage, and now there's another one near the 6-yard line. It's a walk-in touchdown. Lane Kiffin agitated. I don't think he appreciates the call.
Holding. Number 75 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, 1st down.
Why would he? Patrick Kudus, the right guard, transfer from Arkansas.
Yeah, and this is a great job a moment ago in protection. This is the big play all set up. How about number 5, Kewan Lacey? buying just enough time to deliver the throw downfield. That was a thing of beauty. And the running back almost paid it off a moment later, but a big hold by the right guard. Kudus has him back behind the sticks.
Out of the gun, the handoff to Damian Taylor. The Troy transfer, scored a touchdown in the first half. He got one. That's a huge call, because the way this is going, if it's a two-score game, a two-score deficit for Kentucky, that's incredibly more difficult for them than it would be if it's a one-score game. They can force a field goal.
Yeah, which is why you have to be really smart if you're Austin Simmons. Don't take any sacks in this part of the field. Can't lose yardage.
Taylor, that line is starting to do some work for Ole Miss, knocking the Kentucky defense back. That's a 7-yard gain for Taylor out of Northport, Alabama. Just outside Tuscaloosa.
This play,
third down and goal from just outside the 10.
This will tell you a lot about how Lane Kiffin feels about his quarterback. Do they opt to put it in his hands in a tough goal-to-go situation from the 12, or do they play conservative and hand it off?
I think you throw it toward the end zone, try to get some breathing room and get away from this Kentucky team. They do throw it to the end zone. A lot of hand fighting and an incomplete pass. J.Q. Hardaway had the coverage on Harrison Wallace, who's clearly become the go-to receiver for Coach Kiffin, Charlie Weiss, and Austin Simmons.
And I like the call. It's a one-on-one situation. It's either a touchdown or an incompletion. Throw it high in the back of the end zone. It was well covered. It results in an incomplete, so it's not a super high-risk throw. I like the call.
29-yard field goal attempt.
Carnero hit an upright from 51. Made from 41 and has made one from 28 to give Ole Miss a 7-point lead. 8:48 to go, third quarter. You're watching SEC All Day, presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts. Greeny, gentlemen, thank you. We look forward to NFL Countdown, taking us into the first Sunday of the NFL season. Here it's the first SEC game of 2025, and the largest lead now for Ole Miss, 7 points. They've twice led by 4, but it's a one-score game as we approach the midpoint of the third quarter. And Lucas Carnero, after his field goal, will kick it off to Kendrick Law. And he's not going to try it. I think you might try it. Rather than lead on the offense, which has had 9 possessions prior to this one. 5 of them have been 3-and-outs, including the last 2. They've run 6 plays in this quarter, 5 yards total gained.
The thing that's most troubling is there's just really no rhythm. I mean, you got to get your quarterback started. You got to get your playmakers going. I don't care if it's manufacturing little quick screens, something behind the line of scrimmage. Just jumpstart the group a little bit, because right now they're just kind of sluggish and one-dimensional.
Calzada in the 2 games now is 18 for 43 passing. Play action pass. He dumps it off. They give him an easy completion to Josh Caddis, senior from Cincinnati. Bush Hamdan called him the heart and soul of their offense. He had the memorable winning touchdown at Oxford last year when Gavin Wimsatt fumbled just short of the goal line. Caddis caught it out of midair and fell into the end zone.
And that's kind of the plays I want to see from Bush Hamdan's offense. Just a little misdirection. Fake the run to the left, boot the quarterback to the right, easy completion, get you on schedule, get your rhythm.
McGowan, nice run and a first down. Their first of the quarter. 7 minutes in.
The run game's been there for him. The offensive line, I think, for the most part, has been pretty good up front. Using some pullers, creating some extra gaps. They've been pretty good on the edges. But at some point, they got to find something in the passing game with soft coverage. Take a quick, easy completion if you got it.
McGowan lowers his head and got about 9.
When
he ran into Nick Cull at the end of the run.
And just Such a good finisher. Every time just finishes so hard on initial contact, lowering that shoulder. I mean, McGowan, you said from the onset, Sean, he runs angry, and that was on display there. Might have gone away with a little face mat there at the end as well.
Second and 1. They try to bring pressure off the corner. They have a wide open receiver. Jamori Macklin down to the 10-yard line. Might have been a touchdown. He had to wait for the ball to arrive from Calzada, who was probably stunned to see a receiver so wide open down the field. 43 yards.
And just a perfect play call from Bush Hamden. They anticipate corner cat. They get it. Quick little double move. Get the safety who's coming up to play the corner spot to bite. Macklin goes right behind him. Just a perfectly timed call and execution from Kentucky.
Second catch for Macklin, one of the returnees. He was deep down the depth chart last year. McGowan falls forward to the 8-yard line. Well, they took a shot and they hit it.
And they timed it perfectly too. That's a great job by Bush Hamden, anticipating pressure, having a perfect call and an advantageous matchup, and a good throw too from Calzada, who's missed some deep balls throughout the course of the first 2 games.
Second and goal from the 8. Lots of running room. McGowan's going to walk in. Untouched. Touchdown, Kentucky. They finally hit a big play down the field, and it set up the touchdown by McGowan. His second of the game. They went 75 yards in 6 plays. And now Jacob Coway for the tie. Well, more of the same when these two teams get together. Last 3 all decided by 3 points or fewer, and this one's tied.
And a beautiful 56-yard completion to Macklin on the double move. Paid off moments later as McGowan breaks to the outside. And the Cats have life here in Lexington. Let's take a look at the last touchdown here as the left side of the offensive line just does a beautiful job, but in particular 87. That's Henry Boyer securing the edge against Xavier Harris, who's at 6'8", 330-pound run stopper, and the tight end, who's been a pleasant surprise, has been terrific as we got a great look at it from the AT&T Connected cam.
He's a transfer from Illinois. As Greg said, Bush Hamden said he's been a very pleasant surprise. He's 6'6" himself and about 270. And a key block there for the game-tying touchdown. It's a touchback, and here's Kevin Nagandi.
Sean, number 8, Clemson in some trouble at home. Troy already up 10-0, and Boog, here's the defense.
No doubt. One guy tips it, the next guy catches it, and it's a big man touchdown in the fake Death Valley.
T.J. Thompson to score. They would miss the extra point. Clemson just got a field goal. It's right now 16-3, ACC Network, Troy on top.
Wow. Clemson team with national championship aspirations this year. The home loss to LSU to start the year. On the ropes against Troy. More of the same in this rivalry. Ole Miss and Kentucky tied at 25.5 to go, 3rd quarter. The pitch out wide to Kewan Lacey, and he's collared around the 30-yard line for a pickup of 5. David Rayner made the tackle.
The run game's been pretty productive for Ole Miss throughout most of the game. It started off a little slow, but things starting to open up a little bit as this offensive line is settling in.
Lacey has 87 on 19 carries and a touchdown. As a team, they've run for 121. Austin Simmons. The long mesh and a strike on target for another first down across midfield. Trace Bruckler. His first catch Transfer from New Mexico. Their third string tight end. They were excited to get him in the portal. They got a lot of people in the portal. That's how it works these days. They're quickly across midfield to the Kentucky 47. Simmons flushed, and now has a lot of running room, and Bruckler's out there to block for him. Austin scampered out at the 33-yard line for a gain of 14.
Great movement in the pocket there from Simmons, who had a couple of Wildcats breathing down his neck. He escapes to the right and creates big play.
Back to the ground with Lacey.
Mark Stoops is letting someone have it there on the sideline. Fresh bodies going in now as Ole Miss utilizing a little slower tempo on this drive, which is a bit surprising.
Fifth play of the drive. They've had it for a minute 50. Lacey Hall. Lacey cuts and has a first down. Upended by Ty Bryant. The play goes to the 16 for a gain of 15. He's over 100 yards for the second time in as many games as an Ole Miss Rebel. Lane Kiffin couldn't say enough nice things about him in our meetings. Simmons got it off. Bruckler out of bounds, 10-yard line. Another big target, 6'3", 250 out of Frisco, Texas.
Right now, Kentucky's defense totally on their heels, and they're trying to do too much along the line of scrimmage. Multiple guys in multiple gaps, not really sound against the run, and Ole Miss is taking advantage.
Simmons might have been a design quarterback draw. He got stopped in his tracks near the first down marker. A little bit short. Gain of 3. Here comes third down and 1. Alex Afari with the primary hit.
You can anticipate a direct snap and probably 4-down territory for the Rebs.
Simmons with Lacey, the running back. A lot of signaling from the sidelines. The entire offense looking at it, and then they tighten it up. Receivers moving closer to the ball. Wallace, the motion man, design run for Simmons, trying to turn the corner. Touchdown, Austin Simmons. Impressive drive engineered by the sophomore. He takes them 75 yards in 8 plays. And they go back on top by a touchdown. And if it turns into a matching of scores, Ole Miss is very likely to win. Mark Stoops' defense has done the job through most of the day. But Ole Miss marched right down the field there, and Carnero's extra point puts them back up by 7 for the second time.
And just great execution and call. You have 5 guys guard to guard for Kentucky's defense. You're bringing a guy in motion to buy an extra hat. It means you have plenty of room, a lot of softness to the outside, and perfect numbers. That's a great job by Charlie Weiss Jr. Taking a second, surveying, changing the play, recognizing they were soft to the edges, and getting his quarterback running to the outside with the lead blocker on its way. That was tremendous execution by Ole Miss.
The talent is all there, right? Just tighten up the decision making, a couple errant throws, and he's going to be really special.
He's big time. And just, I think today, too, first road start, it couldn't have a worse start with 2 bad decisions to show the poise, to show just how calm he is, not allowing the moment to get too big. That thing, for a lot of guys, would spiral out of control with a start like that in hostile territory.
Kendrick Law back deep. Would you try to run one back if it lands down around the goal line like the last one did? That one's over his head off the foot of Lucas Carnero. So Kentucky will start at the 25 again. Off a good drive last time, they hit a big play in the passing game for the first time today. A 44-yarder from Zach Calzada to Jamori Macklin, the nephew of Jeremy Macklin, the All-American at Missouri, went on to play in the NFL. The longest pass play of the season.
You gotta love how they were able to kind of mix it up on the last drive too. A little misdirection, little off-tackle run, take a shot downfield. That's what this Kentucky offense needs to look like moving forward.
Zach Calzada hands it off to Dante Dowdell, and he's stuffed to the line of scrimmage. Here's Molly.
On the sidelines, coaches were telling Zach Calzada, we knew you could open it up downfield. You have to forget everything that happened before that catch by Jamori Macklin. Hold on to that momentum from that play. Stay decisive with those downfield passes. And for the first time all day on the sidelines, Zach Calzada looked confident. He was smiling. Let's see if it translates onto the field, guys.
Helps when somebody's open. A lot of times when they've tried to throw it downfield, he's had to kind of try to force it in because nobody has any separation. Here's Law. He got banged down after a 2-yard gain. Centurion Perkins, one of the few returning starters, part of that great defensive front last year, and he was a big part of it. He had 10.5 sacks.
He would be the guy I'm watching here on a third down obvious passing situation. He's so disruptive. He's so quick. They love finding matchups for him. So let's see where he lines up here and whether or not he decides to bring pressure against Calzada. Right over that left guard right there.
They can move him around. He's played some linebacker. We saw him drop into deep coverage earlier in the game. Calzada looking for an escape route, doesn't find one, and throws out of desperation, incomplete. He got chased to the boundary by Cam Franklin. And on 4th down and 8, it'll be the 6th punt of the day for Kentucky's Aiden LaRosse. Harrison Wallace, the third, back deep. Booming kick. It drives Wallace back to the 18. 55-yard punt. Time now for our All-State good hands play.
What a play it was. Just a great throw. That's pretty well covered there. But it was paid off a few moments later with a really nice run around the right-hand side. Good play by Lacey. And then quarterback calls his own number with the direct snap. Gets to the outside where there weren't enough Kentucky defenders, and he pays it off. That's a terrific answer from Ole Miss's offense.
Field goal and a touchdown. Since he threw those back-to-back interceptions in the first half, Ole Miss is at 6 possessions. They've scored 3 touchdowns and kicked 2 field goals. So they have found the rhythm. Kewan Lacey dropped for a loss on 1st down. That'll take us under 30 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. They don't have to snap it again if they don't want to. They go quickly. It's looking as if he might be telling the offense we're not going to snap it again.
Lane Kiffin just a moment ago kind of pointing up to the clock and said, hey, take it all the way down and let's live to play the 4th.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter.
With Ole Miss leading Kentucky 27-20. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Coach, these games against Kentucky have come down to the wire in recent years. How do you take control of this game in the 4th?
Well, we go score and make it a two possession game right here, which is why, you know, that holding call was so critical. We got on the touchdown, so we got to get a drive here and get 2 scores, and that's where, you know, they've struggled. So,
thank you, Coach.
All right.
6th straight meeting between these two. It's a 1-score game entering the 4th quarter. With pressure coming, Austin Simmons intentionally threw the ball at the feet of his intended receiver. So here's 3rd down and 12 in the opening seconds of this 4th quarter. Ole Miss deep in its own territory at the 16.
On 3rd and longs, Ole Miss really likes to run guys vertical and then work a little shallow cross underneath. So keep an eye. If there's a guy that pops on a seam, you're going to have a chance, especially in the slot up top.
They sent the tight end Daquan Wright out to the left. And they try to surprise Kentucky with a run. K'Wan Lacey swung down back at the 13-yard line. David Gusta leading the way. Alex Afari nearby as well. A loss of 3.
For Kentucky, number 4 is now wearing number 41.
That was a big sequence for Mark Stoops' defense, because now it's looking like they'll get the ball back around midfield. 1st down there, field position becomes very important.
Oscar Bird, Sydney, Australia. Good punt. Troy Stellato watches it bounce. And the Rebels will down it near the 35-yard line. So Ole Miss, a lot of times when entering the 4th quarter in Lane Kiffin, they've led big because of their propensity to score points. Only 3 losses. And one of those was last year to Mark Stoops. Rare come from behind victory under Stoops in the 4th quarter at Kentucky. There was 17-13 Rebels entering the 4th in Oxford last year in a final of 20-17 for UK.
That last 3rd down call from Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. kind of indicates how Lane Kiffin feels about his defense. A low percentage of converting on a run play there on 3rd and 12. I feel like that defense, with how they've played, they can win them the game on this side of the ball.
Seth McGowan is the running back. He's had a good day. Average 7 yards per carry on 10 carries. Stellato was the motion man. Caddis struggled for every inch, and well played on the corner by Antonio Kite. 3-yard gain to Caddis. Dad played in Michigan, was a tight end in the NFL for 7 years, Cincinnati and the Jets. He has a brother on the team as well, does Josh. Calzada now 12 for 25 for 122. McGowan to the 43-yard line. Here comes the 3rd down and 3 with under 13.5 to go. Kite there again for Ole Miss.
Most of the time, get to 3rd and 3, it's been Bush Hamden calling run plays. That's the tendency. So here, do you opt to trust your quarterback, or do you hand it off and play into what you've done in the past? I think you probably always want to run it because your running backs are your 2 best players.
Both teams are 3 for 11 on 3rd down. Out of the pistol. McGowan, nifty cuts. 1st down. And he got a couple extra at the end of the run. They're to the Ole Miss 45.
And there's a defender at the end of the line of scrimmage that kind of gets lost here. Watch him slide inside, which allows McGowan to get to the outside, make one guy miss, and he's north and south. Just guessing on the edge for Ole Miss's defense results in a nice conversion for the Cats.
$12-yard gain. He's up to 86 yards rushing. Has a couple of touchdowns. They moved the line of scrimmage to the offensive line. It was a while before he got touched. 4-yard pickup for McGowan. There's a reclamation tale here. He started his career at Oklahoma, was involved in an off-field episode that resulted in his arrest. He was dismissed by the team. Wound up in an NAIA program in a junior college in New Mexico State. Gave him a chance back at this level of college football. Last year he took advantage of it. Mark Stoops, Bush Hamden said they've done their research. He's a very nice kid. He's done everything right here. He deserved a second chance. He's taken advantage of it. Calzada swung down. Second time he's been sacked. Xavier Harris for a loss of 7.
One of the impact players, and he just goes up, works against Wolfschlager, and he just beats him inside, just overpowering the right tackle, and big sack there from the star defender.
Huge loss, 3rd down and 12 as we tick down to 11 minutes to go. Kentucky once up by 10, now trailing by 7. Lots of running room. And Dowdell taken down. Here's a decision for Mark Stoops. It's an 8-yard gain, gets it to about 4th and just under 5.
4th and 5. It's been a real problem down. 3rd and 5 has been a problem down for Kentucky for a long time. Just 26%. That was 132nd in the country last year. I think you got to look in the direction of your tight end. He's your most reliable target. See if you can find a matchup for him.
They like both tight ends, Rodriguez and Caddis. Play action pass after the motion. Law's wide open. 1st down to the 21. They sent him in motion, and it freed him up for an 18-yard gain.
And the threat to run is always there. Watch how it affects Sage Ryan. The motion working to the right side, but watch number 3. Watch how far he slides inside as soon as the ball goes into the belly of the back. Law jumps, leverage, it's easy completion.
They're on the move again, 8th play of the drive. McGowan did well to get anything. About 1.5 yards. He ducked down inside the 20. McGowan will come out, and Dante Dowdell is in. They anticipate this being the case all season long. 2 very good running backs. Leaning heavily on the run. They flip it ahead to Law. Has some blockers out in front. And he got banged out of bounds near the 15-yard line. There's a flag down.
Holding, number 87 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, 2nd down.
Henry Boyer was key on that touchdown run.
He's right here as he's engaging with Centarian Perkins. He's holding on a little too long. See that left hand grabbing the jersey and turning the shoulders. That's a good call by the official, and an unfortunate penalty for Kentucky's offense.
They've had 6 penalties in the game now, 5 against the offense. 2nd down, 14. Clean pocket, Calzada. McGowan the catch to the 20-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 9 after a 5-yard completion.
On Mark Stoops, you already rolled the dice a little earlier. Don't have to get it all here on 3rd down. This is 2 downs to get it. Touchdown obviously ties the game. So I think you can just make this 4th down more manageable. Gain you 5 or 6. You can hand it off if you like the numbers. There's no problem with that. But expect to get 2 calls here for Kentucky's offense to try to convert.
11th play of the drive. They've had it for more than 5.5 minutes. Zach Calzada out wide. Caddis. It's broken up, and there is no flag despite the protest on the Kentucky sideline. Nick Cull was the defender there for Ole Miss, the junior from Donaldsonville, Georgia.
Didn't look like he arrived early, too. I understand why the Boo Birds are out. As that ball is starting to arrive, he is already engaged in contact. You see that left arm go over the top and try to make a play, but to me, I think that probably should have been pass interference.
No question. Lane didn't like the holding call that called back the touchdown. That was a big flag. The conference will probably get a call about that, and I think they'll get one about this one too. Big miss by the officials. Calzada Lofts it up into single coverage. And it's incomplete. Probably not even catchable for Hardly Gilmore, the fourth. When Kamir was to one of the officials, Mark Stoops is giving the line judge an earful. That is a bad time to miss a pass interference call. 7:50 to go. Ole Miss takes over on downs. The last drive for Kentucky, 12 plays, 6 minutes and 22 seconds, but results in nothing because the officials whiffed on what was clearly a pass interference penalty. It would have given him a fresh set of downs. Stoops livid, understandably so. It's the longest drive for either team in terms of number of plays or time of possession. So now Ole Miss the ball midway through the fourth quarter, leading by 7. T1 Lacey stopped by Alex Safari, a 1-yard gain, which gets back Lacey to an even 100 yards rushing. His last couple had lost yardage to take him back under 100. Lacey again. A couple of rather conservative runs. It's a team that likes to play fast. Do you stick to what usually works for you, Greg, or do you like this approach to start this possession?
I'm okay being a little bit methodical until you get that first down. But here on a 3rd and 7, you got to make sure your protection's sound. If I'm Kentucky, I'm trying to attack the right side of that offensive line, particularly the right guard. That's the guy that's had a little bit of trouble. That's Kudus. A little bit of trouble with obvious passing situations staying in front. So watch this pass rush for Kentucky.
Austin Simmons takes off running 3 straight runs. He gets yanked down. He tried to deliver a stiff arm. Well, that's not exactly textbook Ole Miss offense under Lane Kiffin. 3 very conservative run calls. There is an injured player at the end of the play.
I think it's the quarterback, Austin Simmons, too. Man, that's not good for the Rebels.
Number 14, Austin Simmons.
Good news is they're helping out quickly. Molly reported he did have his ankle taped earlier, and he's not putting any weight on that left leg now. And the backup quarterback is a transfer from Ferris State, Trinidad Chambliss. They're very high on him. The way that looked, you'd wonder if Simmons could possibly return.
And it's the left leg, and you see it underneath. He kind of gets rolled up over the top and couldn't put any weight on that left leg. And you hope he's okay. Wasn't able to put any weight on it as he went to the sideline.
So there's the 4th punt for Oscar Bird. Troy Stellato is back for it. He's dealing with the setting sun right in his eyes. That one is off to the near sideline. Stellato fair catch, and he makes it just shy of the 40. 35-yard punt. Concern on the Ole Miss sideline as they protect a 7-point lead.
SEC on ABC College Football is presented by Burger King. You rule.
Spirited affair in the SEC opener. Ole Miss on the road, a 7-point lead, 6:12 to go. This is the last play of the last possession, the 4th down when they turned it over. Kentucky, Zach Calzada grimacing in pain after he threw it away. He's twice had shoulder surgery on his left shoulder, and it looks like that might be the problem again. So he's watching from the sideline, and Cutter Boley is the new quarterback. He's a redshirt freshman from Hodgenville, Kentucky. Went to high school right down the street at Lexington Christian Academy. Take over at the 40, 60 yards away from a tying touchdown. Play action pass. Looking for McGowan. Flag thrown on the Kentucky sideline. T.J. Daugherty running in coverage. Linebacker with a running back.
15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
And no hesitation from Boley right out of the gate. Nifty looking fake and a deep throw.
And a pretty decent throw at that, right off the bench. And Good call by the official as Daugherty definitely engages, begins that collision, and forces the receiver out of bounds. That was a good call.
Takes it to the Ole Miss 45. Nearing 6 minutes to go. Dante down, bouncing off would-be tacklers. 15 more for Kentucky. They've moved the ball well their last few possessions. Last drive went 12 plays and no points.
Continue to have to try to run the football, though, as the field starts to condense. The offensive line has to take ownership, and they've gotten some solid movement throughout the game, especially there as they pulled a few guys around for a nice run.
Three receivers to the right, 4 total. They sent McGowan out to the left. Boley looks in that direction. Poised in the pocket, and he just missed. Willie Rodriguez. Molly tells us it is a shoulder injury for Calzada. Questionable to return. I think Boley just right out of the chute. Looks more comfortable than we've seen Calzada look in 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, just letting it rip downfield. A miss there, but that would have been a very tough throw, especially with some pressure in his face. This young freshman's the future of the program. They got a lot of belief on his shoulders.
McGowan tried to cut inside. He got dropped after a 1-yard gain. Will Eccles has had a nice game up front for Ole Miss. We did ask Mark Stoops the other day about Calzada. Is he definitely your quarterback? And he said, well, until he isn't. It was a competition in the preseason. In fairness to Calzada, he did lead a 12-play drive last time out. That ended in part because they didn't get a flag on a pretty blatant pass interference call. 2 possessions before that, they scored a touchdown. The fake toss out wide, and Boley, with a flag down, gets a 2-yard gain. He's a big man, 6'5", 220.
Looked like there was a flag on the far side, too.
Well, you're a terrible spotter because I said there's a flag down based on your wild gesturing.
Number 1 on the offense. That penalty is declined.
There was a flag down. You're rehired.
Perfect. Big 4th down, and trying to make that 4th down a little more manageable with the quarterback run. And got to be thinking here on 4th and 7. Make sure the protection's sound and try to find Kendrick Law.
Well, it was 4th down and 7 last year under much different circumstances. They were at their own 19 when they hit the 55-yard, the 63-yard play that set up the winning touchdown. Now trying to get a tying touchdown. 4:20 to go. Boley off the bench, running out of time, and he'll be sacked back outside the 30-yard line. The 3rd Ole Miss sack. They're celebrating mightily, and Lane Kiffin telling him to calm down. Suntarian Perkins, Prince Will Umanmielen leading the way. And they take it over on downs again for the 2nd possession in a row.
And a big missed opportunity for the young freshman Carter Boley. He needs to be looking right now at Kendrick Law. He's wide open. Throw it. It's 4th down and 7. The ball's got to come out. And he had his receiver open for the line to gain. Just didn't see him, didn't cut it loose, and results in a turnover on down.
So there's Ole Miss with the ball again in a 7-point lead. Since they took the lead, they've run 6 plays without a first down, 2 punts. Austin Simmons is on his feet. He did come onto the field and throw some warm-up balls, but it is Trinidad Chambliss, the transfer from Ferris State, where he won a D2 national championship last year. Deuce Alexander for a gain of 8 out to the 39-yard line. Here's Molly.
Well, Sean, you saw Austin Simmons couldn't put any weight on that left leg. He was in visible pain when he went into the injury tent, but he came out with his left ankle heavily taped, threw the football, and looked determined to return. He even sniffed some smelling salts, told trainers he's good to go, so he's itching to get back out on the field, guys.
In this juncture in the game, too, under 4 minutes, 4-minute offense, you have a tremendously mobile option now in Chambliss. So I think it's probably his show the rest of the day because he really offers the element of the quarterback run that's tough to defend.
Some confusion and a substitution on the Kentucky sideline. Chambliss, a good dual threat quarterback, turns the corner, runs out of bounds at midfield. Lane Kiffin brought up Chambliss and Armenia the other day unprompted. So wait till you get a look at our backup quarterbacks. It reminds me in some ways of Russell Wilson. That's a high compliment. That's an 11-yard run for Chambliss.
And initially, when you watch him at first, you're thinking, all right, this guy's a great runner. He'll be utilized at some point in this offense when the game is absolutely on the line. But Lane Kiffin reiterated, no, this guy can throw it too. So this guy is very much a dual threat and a tremendous insurance policy for the Rebels.
If we are going to lean heavily on the run as they have these last 3 possessions now, you have the better running quarterback out there. He's tricked down this time. Will Mark Stoops start to use timeouts? Yes, he will. 1-yard loss on that play.
Timeout. Kentucky. They're first. Please reset the game clocks to 2 minutes, 42 seconds. 2:42. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Here's Kevin Nagandi.
Sean, let's check in on the Swamp. USF giving number 13 Florida all they can handle here, Boog. Byron Brown, dangerous quarterback, and he has some time. He finds Keeson Singleton.
Kev, the underthrown ball is undefeated. The Florida defenders collide. Easy touchdown for the Bulls.
66 yards, so the Bulls take the lead, and then special teams. Oh, no, not special for the Gators.
Smart by the punter, though. Knock it out of the back of the end zone. Only a safety, not a touchdown.
USF up 15-9 right now in the fourth quarter. We are less than an hour away from kick in Norman. Oklahoma ready to host Michigan prime time on ABC.
Here, 2:42 to go. Austin Simmons after an ankle injury. Watching from the sideline as Ole Miss tries to run out the clock. Chambliss gave it to Kewan Lacey, running room outside. Down the sideline he goes. And he spins down at the 17. They're going to mark it at the 18-yard line. 33 for Kewan Lacey. Up to 135 for the game.
Just a great job in this game. The Ole Miss offensive line, the run game, just terrific.
Timeout.
Taking things over as fatigue starts to set in.
This will be a 30-second
Lacey gets to the outside, and there's really nobody home. You look at how heavy on the interior Kentucky is. There's really not a lot of overhang. You have an outside receiver coming to block down, secure the edge, and Lacey's out the gate. Just great execution, taking advantage of numbers on the outside in the run game.
You saw the reaction from Lane Kiffin. I think he is fairly comfortable and confident that that is the play that's going to put this one in the win column. With 2.5 to go, and Kentucky down to 1 timeout and a fresh set of downs now for Ole Miss.
And Sean, we talked about it in the early part of this game. The one area that feels different this year for Ole Miss offensively is how good their running back position is. Lane Kiffin and company, they feel like Kewan Lacey really provides that spark that they just didn't have at that position a year ago, and Diggs being healthy can be the hammer to Lacey's lightning. It's a really nice 1-2 punch, and he has been impressive these first 2 games.
To the tune of 100+ in each. Well, certainly Henry Parrish Jr., the lead back last year, was a very nice college running back, but Lacey is a more dynamic playmaker at that position. Deuce Alexander flagged down. He cuts inside, slides down. He made the 5-yard line for a 13-yard run, but there is a flag.
Holding, number 1 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay first down.
Kajan Stribling called for the penalty.
Another big holding penalty. He's on the right side. He's going to be blocking down, and it's really big. That's twice now where they've gotten clearly into field goal range, clearly into the point where they're in a good spot to try to punch it into the end zone, and a holding penalty gets them behind the sticks to make what could be a game-winning field goal a whole heck of a lot tougher.
7 Ole Miss penalties. Quite frankly, it didn't look like there was a lot there, but they threw the flag. I think there'll be some phone conversations around the league about the officiating here today on both sides.
Their third and final timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
So Kentucky out of timeouts. They used all of them in both halves. And Lacey has 139 on 27 carries. Clearly the lead back. We'll look at today's college football rankings brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Really in pretty wild top 10 after some of the results in the top 10 last week. Clemson, of course, in a tough spot against Troy at home, trying to bounce back. We'll see exactly what happens with LSU tonight, but man, Florida going to Baton Rouge next week on the ropes now against USF. It's been a wild start to what should be an excellent 2025 college football season.
Well, it's a USF team made a big statement right out of the gate, hammering Boise State. Obviously much improved.
Very much so, especially on the defensive side. I mean, my goodness, to hold DJ Lagway and co to under 10 so far is pretty impressive.
Lacey, they're trying to strip him. They cannot. He took a direct snap and lost a yard. And this will take us to the 2-minute timeout.
2-minute timeout.
For 158. 27-20, Ole Miss. The ball and the lead. You're watching the SEC on ABC. First game of this conference season from Lexington, Kentucky. Ole Miss with the stats advantage, and most importantly a 7-point lead at the 2-minute stoppage, facing 3rd down and 14 at the Kentucky 22. Trinidad Chambliss, the backup quarterback, both starting quarterbacks knocked out of this game due to injury. That's a 3-yard gain, and Lane Kiffin has to decide if he wants to kick the field goal. I think at the very least he's going to run all the time down.
Absolutely. I mean, just let it go all the way down and call timeout with 1 second remaining on the play clock.
We have a great deal of confidence in the kicker. The one thing obviously you risk is a block. Carnero was Lou Groves' semifinalist last year. Play clock. They stop it.
Ole Miss, they're first. This will be a 30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 1 minute, 14 seconds. 1-1-4. Thank you.
Personally, Greg, I think you kick the field goal. You're right between the hash marks. You have a very good kicker. It puts the game away.
Yeah.
It's too long to go for it on 4th down and 11. Especially where they've leaned heavily on the run. They've run 13 straight running plays. I don't think they're going to risk putting it in the air again. So getting an 11-yard run is unlikely.
And a backup quarterback in the game. I think it's obvious, no doubt. Make it a 2-possession game and play some prevent defense. Get out of here with what should be a hard-fought victory.
Carnero, his first try of the day, hit the left upright from 51. His only miss in his career from 50+. He's made it from 43 and 28 cents. This is from 37 to pretty well seal it for the Ole Miss Rebels and avenge last year's stunning loss to Kentucky and Oxford. It is a 10-point lead. There is a flag down. Do they hit the kicker? They're asking Lane Kiffin. David Smith, the referee, holding up 5 fingers. I think it's running into the kicker. And I think they're going to take the field goal.
running into the kicker on the defense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, the field goal was good.
Lucas Carnero over from Western Kentucky. Another big hit in the transfer portal for Ole Miss.
The big theme is not just for today, but moving forward, Ole Miss. Austin Simmons, their quarterback, going down with a left leg injury, and then Calzada getting sacked on the 2 possessions ago, hurting that right shoulder, and then just kind of looking very uncomfortable the rest of the way and getting some medical attention on the sideline. So hopefully he can return, but it'll be up to Cutter Boley, see if he can stage a miraculous comeback.
Simmons threw 2 early interceptions. They went down 10-0. He played better. They played better. And Lacey, 138 yards rushing and a touchdown. The workhorse, 28 carries, just under 5 per carry. So likely a 2-0 start, 1-0 in conference, with 4 straight home games upcoming for Ole Miss. Meanwhile, Kentucky has a daunting schedule that continues. Rated the 5th toughest schedule in the country for Mark Stoops.
Even in defeat, though, he's got to be pleased, I think, because they did absolutely play very physical football. This is a brand that can travel. This is a brand of style that will go week to week, becoming a team that nobody wants to play. And while they got a lot of things to iron out offensively, their offensive line and their run game, those being the bell cow of what they become, is huge moving forward.
They did a lot of what they needed to do to pull off the upset for the 2nd year in a row. They did not turn it over. Kentucky +2 in the turnover margin today. They've had the ball, the edge and time of possession, more than 31 minutes prior to this possession. McGowan couldn't handle a tough throw from Cutter Boley, who will quite likely be the starting quarterback when they host Eastern Michigan here next weekend. They made a lot of plays, they just didn't make enough, and credit to Ole Miss. They got the defensive stops when they needed them. Boley takes off running. You think this is a better Ole Miss team than a year ago?
I think they have a lot of firepower. I don't know if I'm willing to go so far as to say they're better than last year, but I think they can beat you in more ways. Last year, it almost exclusively went through what was a crazy disruptive front 4 and Jackson Dart. Now they have Lacey, they have Simmons, and they have many playmakers on defense that make it hard to beat them.
And they might not have the high-end draft choices, but they do have quality depth. Boley chopped down at the end of the run at the 41-yard line. 13 yards for him. Backed up Brock Vandegrift last year. Good news is Simmons is walking without much of a limp. It's noticeable on the sideline. Little hitch, but does not seem to be in excruciating pain. Boley against the 3-man rush. That's caught. Hardly Gilmore, the 4th. Inside the 30. And spinning down at the 21-yard line. Sage Ryan, the transfer from LSU, finally stopped the play, but that's 38 yards.
You could spike it here, kick the field goal, and then potentially onside kick, try a Hail Mary. That's usually the operation you try to do under 20 here.
And the timeout's called by Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, their 2nd.
If I'm Kentucky, I'm running the field goal unit out there to preserve some time. Kick that onside kick, maybe you recover it, take one shot at the end zone where you could potentially win it. So that's what I'd be doing here. Wouldn't run the offense back out there. I want to get those 3 and make it a 1-possession game.
That might have been what somebody was saying in Mark Stoops' headset. You could see him looking skyward and nodding his head. Well, as usual, Stoops' team, they're going to fight and scrap all the way to the end. But the talent level is advantage Ole Miss, and that'll be the case in a lot of the games that they play in this conference. They are bringing the field goal team out, so Cowie will try to make it a 7-point game. Then they'll try an onside kick, see if they can recover that and fire a Hail Mary. This is from 39 from the right hash mark. The wind not a factor. Wilson Berry, the backup punter, is the holder. Well struck and good. And those who occasionally invest on such things were just impacted by that field goal, which brings it to a 7-point game.
Now the hands team operation, so hard now. There's so many different varieties to the onside kick. It used to be, hey, you just hit on the top of the ball, second hop, big hop, go up and get it. Now you can see squibs, you can see spinners, you can see knuckleballs, you can see all different types. So I'm curious to see exactly how Kentucky will try to execute this and what style of kick they'll utilize.
And only 8 seconds to go. So if they were fortunate enough to recover it, it wasn't a very successful play last year. Just 16% of the time onside kicks were successful. They have both LaRosse and Wilson Berry. So it could be one of those, one guy runs toward the ball, the other guy kicks it. Wilson Berry, number 93. He runs at it, leaves it for LaRosse, and it is fielded by Ole Miss, by Caden Lee, out there with the hands team. He has terrific hands, and Lane Kiffin and the Rebels are going to survive.
What a gutsy win.
Yeah, it really is, and it's just never easy in this rivalry for either team, but particularly for Lane, you know, so used to going up and down the field, leading the nation in points and yards since he's been the head coach, but the 30 seems like a ton against Kentucky.
It certainly does, and the run game to go as well as it did, to have that much balance offensively, and to start the way you started. I mean, imagine if you got the second, third, and fourth quarter version of Ole Miss starting at the beginning. They're going to become a very difficult team as the season goes along, assuming they can start a little better in the next few games.
Yeah, so much adjusting to do. I mean, it's life in the portal, but this is a dramatic version of it when you bring back only 2 starters on each side of the ball. There's a learning curve. A little woofing, it seems, at the end of the game here. And some respectful handshakes as well. Here's Molly with Lane Kiffin.
Coach, backup quarterback Trinidad Chambliss came in for an injured Austin Simmons. What did he and your offense do well in the face of adversity at the end?
Yeah, they did a really good job. You know, we were in that situation against Kentucky a year ago, and actually in 2 of our losses, and didn't finish in 4 minutes on offense and make it a 2-score game. So really glad how the players played, especially in the second half, second quarter, and you know, they fought hard. That's a really hard team that plays really close games. So proud of our guys. Sorry to a lot of gamblers there at the end.
What can you tell us about the status of Austin Simmons moving forward?
He was fine to go back in. I went with Trinidad just because we were going to run some stuff where he was going to pull the ball, and luckily it worked out.
Your defense kept them out of the end zone at the end. Huge stop on 4th and 6. What kind of determination did you see from that group?
Yeah, same thing. This was a game a year ago where we didn't finish it on offense, then we didn't finish it on defense. So to do that on defense, and that's why those guys up front get paid a lot of money to end the game.
I know there's a lot going on in the group chat with the SEC coaches. What are you going to say to Stoops after this one?
Oh, I don't know. We'll talk tomorrow. But he's a great coach, the longest coach in this conference, and his team's always hard.
All right, thanks. Congrats.
Hey, guys.
You're good friends. Bill Lane hit the nail on the head. You know, gambling is part of it now, so might as well acknowledge the field goal changed the spread. Ole Miss went off as a 7.5-point favorite, and it also took it from the under to the over. The over-under was 51.5. The game ends at 53 with the field goal. Final score: Ole Miss 30, Kentucky 23. Why do you torture yourself wagering on these things in the first place? For Greg and Molly, Sean McDonough. So long from Lexington. Let's send you back to the studio. Here's Kevin.
John, thank you so much. Lane Kiffin